I don't know anything about it, but uh, what deck do you play? What color deck?
Well, so there's this thing that they do every few months. It's called a pre-release. So when a new set of cards comes out, before they're officially for sale, you can go to a local store and you can, buy a pack of, it's a pre-release box or whatever.
Yeah,
And then you basically just like assemble a deck from like 6 packs.
yeah.
And then you play and, if you win some, you get some more packs. It's just kind of like a fairly social way to, you know, play the new set and it's like $40. It's a fun way to spend a Saturday afternoon or Saturday
Okay.
evening.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play. I used to be really, really into Yu-Gi-Oh, so I'm familiar with like the concept
Yeah. So
of
that's what I was there
pre-release.
for.
Sure. Okay. So it wasn't really like a particularly like structured deck with like a lot of unity to it. It was like,
No, it was just a
yeah.
random thing I assembled, but I actually won all of my matches, so
Whoa.
yeah, I
You
went
must
3 and
just be
0.
built way way different and in fact
I got
better.
that PhD brain.
Yeah. That's I don't know. There's like a weird phenomena where there's like a strange number of lawyers that are just really into Yu-Gi-Oh. And it like kind of makes sense. Like there's just like a lot of rules
You know,
and like procedures
the Magic
and
the
like
Gathering rulebook is numbered like statutes. So you'll have,
mm,
go to rule number 901.4.3 and look at the text. Like, I mean, there's literally like 1,000 pages of rules in the Gathering. So it's absolutely the same, is what I'm saying.
sure, yeah. I don't know. I think that makes sense. Um I definitely think that I definitely think that it takes like a certain
Special
level of
kind of
like I don't know.
je ne sais quoi
Yeah, like it just takes like
neurodivergence.
the logic brain to be good at the games, I fear.
Well,
You fear. Oh, we're
we've got
live.
one guest already. We are live, and Dr. Blitz, if you could join up, I think we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Yep. And I see it right there. Not bad.
Oh no, you're okay. Hey, welcome in, friends. It's Sunday morning. We're gonna get a guest here in just a minute. We're almost ready to take our
Did we
first
hit
guest.
10K subscribers on the YouTube?
I
I
believe
think
that
we
is the
did.
case. Yeah. In fact, let me check real quick just to double up. Yeah, we're at 10,049. And give me a second. We've got quite a few members now. Thanks for everyone who's a member. We've got 80 members right now.
Indeed, we
So
do.
big W for anyone who's signed up as a monthly member. Super appreciate it. It really helps the channel quite a bit. C-Bar, hey, thanks for the $5 super. Thanks, we appreciate it. And Poop Man Jones, good to see you this morning. Says, dare I say, I watch these streams every Sunday religiously. Yeah, as you should. This is the only religion you need. And Godwin says it's Sunday, so take them to church, y'all. That's the goal here. We're gonna do as much as we can. All right, we're gonna grab Spiral Factor. I think Spiral Factor was first in from the TikTok queue. If you're watching on TikTok, you know how to get up. Just hit the guest request button. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link on the screen. It's tiny.cc/UA guest. Also, if you don't want to type that into your browser, you can go to the description of the video and you can just click the link. All right, let's get Spiral. Welcome in, Spiral. Are you at least
Oh,
18 and do you believe in God?
hey, I must have accidentally requested. I'm a
Oh,
friendly.
You're good.
no worries. Cheers, bud.
Thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks for
All right,
watching. Yeah.
enjoy the stream.
All right. So let's get
Let's see who else do we have queued up. Yeah.
how you doing, Emp?
What's going on? Pretty radiant. Radiant. Let me know if
Radiant.
my air conditioning. Oh, yes, radiant. Let me know if my air conditioning in the background is annoying. I can turn it off.
We can't hear it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like like it's coming through the mic. So, are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
I'm 21 and yes, I do.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
The Yahweh. The one, the true, the only.
Okay, the Christian version of Yahweh or the original version?
The Christian.
Okay. What do you think is the best piece of evidence or the best argument for God being real, preferably your God.
Well, that's where we're going to have a bit of a semantic reduction as to how you're caching real to be. So when I say real, it's going to be in an objective standard of reality, where you might say, for example, under some stipulation, real is just going to be some assumption based on evidence provided to like a proposition or a claim, because it's supporting for it to be true, then it's going to be real. So what do you mean by real?
Well, typically when we talk about real, we're talking about it just as like a thing like having being in some sort of mind independent way.
Okay, so it's just going to be like some ontological standard for something to be real.
If I'm understanding what you're
Without being-
saying correctly, yes.
Okay, well, I mean, my argumentation follows modus ponens, which would be that for everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. Then, if a universe has a cause, that cause must be non-physical, timeless, and powerful enough to bring the universe into existence. And then that would just be your simple reduction of like P and then Q, P therefore Q.
So
I'm
we're
sure
just
Blitz
doing
has
the
a lot of
Kalam
thoughts on
cosmological
this.
argument?
Yeah, that's Kalam. But
Pretty
with,
much.
extra words.
Okay, so on what grounds do you have for believing that the universe began to exist?
Yeah, so the universe, which is going to be temporal, can begin to exist absent of a mind being necessary. So then this is
Sorry,
where we can
that
get...
didn't really address my question. My question is, why do you think the universe began to exist at all?
Well, why do we believe? Well, beliefs are going to be axiomatic, but there's going to be supporting evidence through states of experience, such as consciousness, to deem...
Yeah. So give the supporting evidence for your credence in the position.
Yeah, it's just going to be based on this necessary foundation of the mind being present in truth, or the state of reality to be true through shared experience.
So to be clear, it sounds like your justification for believing the universe began to exist is because you think that there's a God?
Yeah, it sounded circular to me.
Sorry. Well, you can engage in virtuous circularity and vicious circularity. So circularity is not a defeater to a position.
Okay,
just
but to be clear, it is circular. We agree on that?
Yeah, but
Could you maybe
don't
actually
think that
distinguish for
violence-
us like the difference between, because I've wondered this, like what's a, like surely you saying like God exists because everything that began to exist has a cause and the universe began to exist and the universe began to exist because God exists, like surely that must be like a vicious circle. So I'm curious, like what
Well-
do you mean when you say like vicious versus virtuous circle?
Yeah, so when I kind of cash it out, it's like given the argument, it's like stating, like for example, a married man is a bachelor, bachelor is a married man, doesn't violate any law of logic.
Is that a circle or is that merely just a definition?
It's also like it's like a different, even if it is a circle, it's a completely different type, because what you're giving with the Kalam is like an epistemic circle, like a justification for beliefs that goes in a circle, as opposed to like a semantic circle, which of course, language is inevitably circular, but it's not clear to me that like an epistemic circle, at least one this short, is one that is acceptable.
Well, to like this, sorry, so in regards to like epistemology, I'm holding to like some idealist foundation where the mind has to be present for all forms of knowledge to be true. And then that's where, like, even when I was giving like the cosmos argument, for reality to be true, it's going to be based upon the conscious state of experience to arise for X to be sufficient enough for it to be the case. And that's where, like,
I'm not
I
sure how
was
that
asking
answered the question that I was wondering, which is just, what do you mean by like a vicious circle or like a virtuous circle? What's going to make something a vicious circle or a virtuous circle?
So you're just asking for the distinction
Yeah.
Yeah.
of what? Yeah. So I mean, my interpretation could be wrong. So by all means, correct me. So you can have like something which assumes itself based on a premise, following to the conclusion, or you can have like said premises which have explanatory power for it to be true, but it's not going to be violating any like form of like logic. So it's like saying like Schmurder is bad because unaliving someone is Schmurder, therefore Schmurder is like bad.
So I guess I'm like skeptical that that answered the question, but I mean, maybe I can just give you like a broader critique of circular arguments, which is just that a circular argument can't possibly persuade anyone who isn't already persuaded of your position. That if your argument bottoms out and God exists because the universe began to exist because God exists, well, unless somebody thinks that God exists, they couldn't be persuaded by your argument.
Well, so all I'm trying to state there is for the world to exist, such as the universe, it's going to be of like some causal like nature. So God would be the necessary condition for the universe, and then that's where I'm stating that every cause has every action has like a reaction. For the uncause, there must be a cause for it to be true.
Wait, so are you saying everything requires a cause? Like, what's the causal principle that you're appealing to here?
Causal principle in lies to me.
It sounds like you're appealing to some sort of like causal principle to establish that the universe had a cause. And I don't want to misrepresent you. I don't think this is what you're saying. But like, are you saying that you like everything has a cause, therefore the universe has one? Like, why? On what basis are you saying that the universe has a cause?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked into causal theory as much.
So then why are you making the Kalam cosmological argument? It's a causal argument.
Because Loki, one of my friends, doesn't want to come up, and I'm just reading off his position, like something on Discord.
All right, fair.
But,
checks out.
whereas
Does your friend have like a justification for the second premise?
from understanding, he just runs like some meta theory of mind, of like monism, saying that if the universe began to exist, then all forms of knowledge are going to be true. For the universe to not exist, then it's going to be the case that God is not true. So then he just gives like some explanatory power to God as being the necessary precondition for the universe to exist. And then that's where he runs. Don't know what causal theory because I haven't looked into it, but just states that like God is going to be the uncause of the cause to be prevalent.
I guess I'm not really sure what that argument means. It's kind of weird to be appealing to like epistemic principles doing something like this. Like I actually genuinely have no clue what theories of mind would have to do with justifying that the universe began to exist. Like if we took the position, for example, that the universe always existed, I'm not sure how that's at odds with anything that you said.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm fine with being clip farmed and stuff.
I mean, it's not even
I'm
a good
just
clip.
fair enough. I'm just reading off some syllogism I got sent.
Okay. Was there anything
All right.
else?
No, not really.
Well, thanks for
Okay.
coming up.
Okay.
Cheers. I'm intrigued. I mean, he was a nice enough young man, but I'm curious. Do you think he actually has a friend that is like running this argument, or
Who
was he
knows?
trying to deflect so that it didn't sound like it was his bad argument?
Well, I don't know. It seems plausible. He was definitely like gibberating. Like whenever you'd ask him for an explanation, basically what follows was gibberish, like every single time.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I don't think I understood like hardly a single explanation.
Actually, that's a fair point too. If you're providing an argument that's not yours, typically you don't really understand it, so you can really only repeat the argument. You can't really dissect the argument because it's not your argument, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like if he actually got a friend who sent him the argument.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Yep. All right, let's get our next guest in here. Hey, friends, welcome in. I think the audience is starting to fill out now. we should have a bunch of people populating the guest queue as per usual. So we only stream for 4 hours typically on Sunday. If you wait till the end of the stream to get into the guest box, you might just not get into the conversation. So now at the beginning of the stream, best time to get your spot in line. I try to grab them in order in the queue. So we'll grab.
I don't know how you do that.
So the only way to do it is just kind of try to keep track in your brain of like who came first.
So you just be big brain. Got it.
Listen, between the three of us, we all know that I'm not the big brain.
I don't know. Like my short-term memory is like on par with a goldfish. So.
Oh boy. Well, actually, I think that's a common problem. I'm with you there. In fact, I hate to admit it, but I actually had an appointment yesterday with another creator, and I totally forgot about it. I remembered after the
How
fact
embarrassing.
because Dalton reminded me.
How-
I'm like, oh shit.
How embarrassing.
I know. I feel so bad. I
You
have
should
to
be ashamed.
go grovel and apologize. LeBron, welcome in. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Hey, how's it going? Yes, I'm 35 and I do believe in God. Yeah, so it's very simple and straightforward. If we are here, there must always
Sure.
have been something that existed.
So, which God do you believe in?
Muslim, I believe in Allah.
Okay. And the
Yeah,
argument is that you can't get something from nothing, and there's something, therefore there's never nothing.
Yes. Yes, if we are here, there must always have been something there. Before reaching to conclusion that is God, I'm just saying, very simple, very straightforward. Should we be here, there must be something always there, something eternal, by design.
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case, but I do agree with it personally. What do you guys think?
Yeah, seems
I think it's
reasonable to me. Yeah. Sounds good, champ. What's
Okay,
next?
so to me, I take it a little bit a step forward. I would say that something eternal has like two attributes, perhaps three, but the third one is like argumentative, but no worries. So the first one is like that something is eternal by design. Could be energy, could be whatever. I'm just referring to it as it, all right? So it is eternal by design, meaning it had no beginning. It was always there. Like I cannot explain this further. It just always been there, and it most likely will always be there. That's the first attribute. The second, it has infinite amount of power. Why do I say that? Because if we see the neutron stars, everything around us, it's somehow contain an energy. Either like we could absorb that energy or not. There is energy within our world, so that something must have like infinite amount of energy for these energies to be generated that we can observe or we cannot observe. Do you think this is a fine conclusion, these two things, or
Actually, I disagree
No.
with both. What do you guys come up with?
I think that's mega wrong.
Well, I think the first one has like a weird name, but maybe I'm fine with the description. The name of the first one was Eternal. Oh fuck! Blitz just got Thanos snapped out of existence. Holy shit!
But what happened?
What?
Where the fuck did he go?
I'm right here.
Okay, regardless. So for the first one is called Eternal by Design. I don't know if you're presupposing that there's like some sort of designer there. Like I would reject that. But if all it means is that there's no beginning, well, I'm fine with that. I don't have any problem with there being no beginning. In terms of the infinite power, like your description of this just doesn't seem to follow at all. I have no idea why it would have infinite power if it always existed. I just don't know why that follows.
The way I view it is that should there be a multiple big bangs, like could this be the quadrillion big bang? These big bangs need some sort of power to be generated, extracted, contracted, etc. Either should be there some other forms of big bangs. Maybe we only know this form. Could be other forms as well. All of these require some sort of enormous amount of power. Therefore, the source of origin must be infinite. It cannot be like
Wait,
Google
but why
Plex,
infinite?
Google or
It requires some power, therefore it requires infinite power. Why would that follow?
Yeah, because I would say that should it be like hypothetically, Google Plex amount of goal, all right? So eventually these goals will run out. So that thing must be infinite.
Why?
That's my opinion.
Why?
It
Why
will
would
it
it
will
run
run
out?
out eventually.
Why?
You do need enormous amount of power to generate the Big Bang and to keep it and then to do it all over again.
But why
Well,
infinite?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
go for it,
still-
Justin.
I'm still waiting for the connection because like you could you can have a non-infinite amount of energy and power and still get to the Big Bang. The Big Bang's not like an infinite, you know, it's not so large that it's infinite. Why would it need infinite amount of power?
Yeah, that's my conclusion based on that. Should be the Big Bang is a repetitive process, and with each time, there must be some sort of energy being lost or transmitted into a different shape. Therefore, the generator or the source of origin or it must have like enormous amount of energy we cannot fathom. Therefore, it is infinite.
So why would I think that it would lose energy each time? Like, where would it lose energy to?
I would assume that there should be some sort of energy being lost in the process of the first
Why?
to second, the third Big Bang, etc.
I have no idea
That's how I
why.
view it. Yeah, it's impossible for me to say that all energies are preserved as they are, and like they will never be like consumed and or lost.
So I think this is an interesting motivation, but the reason why I don't find this to be very plausible or intuitive is because the entirety of the universe is very different from an individual system. You know, and like an individual, like small system, like a car, for example, a car doesn't perfectly transfer its energy and conserve its energy, which is why you need to fill it up with gas over time to get more, I think, chemical energy into your car to so it can translate that to some sort of kinetic energy. And you know, there's going to be like a loss of energy in like the car to its outside environment, but the universe can't lose energy to its outside environment. So this just seems to be very straightforwardly not analogous. I'm not sure why I would think that the universe is losing energy, and I don't know. Maybe you could inform us. What is it that the universe is losing energy to?
So in the universal scale, that is a possibility. I just don't believe in it. To me, it just don't seems make sense that the universe would maintain its energy, even though that as you said, what it would lose energy to, since this is the universe, But I can only imagine, since been watching a lot of documentary about stars, something I just like, I can only imagine the unfathomable amount of energies that each star has, and neutron stars, etc. Like, to me, it seems like mind-boggling that the generator or the source origin or eventually it will have limited amount of energy. I can only assume, understand, it's like infinite. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Well, let's put it like this. Each star has finite energy, and there's a finite number of stars. So it follows from these two facts that there is going to be a finite amount of total energy, at least among the stars. It's
Yeah.
gonna be it's gonna be
So
a ton of
that's
energy. It's gonna be a shit ton of energy, obviously. But it's gonna be finite. I have no reason at all to think that it's gonna be infinite.
observably, yes, it is finite. However, I do believe that there is also the theory of the dark matter, antimatter. These things, perhaps not measurable, I would say. Perhaps maybe they even contain even more energy. And the more we find out, hypothetically in the future, it can only lead me to infinite. I cannot say, okay, well, we have found out, or we have like come to conclusion that maybe the hypothetical amount of energy is so and so. That seems a very, very big number. To me, I can only assume it's infinite. It's not a number anymore. It's just like infinite, goes all the way.
We we still haven't heard a single reason why we would think it's infinite. Like the argument so far is, I think it's infinite, but we need the
Yeah.
connection. Why do you think it's infinite? Just because it's big doesn't mean it's infinite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my understanding of the argument so far too. You know, there's a fuck ton of energy, therefore there's infinite energy. I just don't know why.
yeah, because it's just too big. That's my idea of it. Had it been like a bit smaller or like something within
What do you mean
our
too
reasonable.
big? What's the critical mass point? Like what's the critical energy point where it becomes too big?
Well, relative to our understanding, not necessarily there is a certain number. I would say beyond that is too big and below it is too small, but relative to our understanding in general, in large, I can only come up with that conclusion. It's impossible for me to say that it is eventually it's finite. Yeah, it is observably it is finite though. Yeah, but should I take it back to the source of origin or it? I can only make it like infinite. I cannot make it okay. Actually, it's just finite. I cannot see that
So
happening.
how big is the universe? So, for example, like we're talking about like the expanding universe, like the part that we can actually observe. Do you think that all of the universe is just what we've been able to observe, or do you think there's more universe beyond that?
For sure, I do believe that there is more by far that we can have, that
Okay.
we can ever discover even in the future.
So
And
let's
I don't think this is
so let's just fast forward here. If the universe, let's say our current expansion, the observable universe, let's just say we're going to use like some basic measurements. We're just gonna say it's like 1 by 1. Let's say, for example, that the entire universe, including the part that we can't see, is like 10 by 10. Well, what that means is like the universe that's 10 by 10. Like if you think we need a bunch of energy, well, now you don't really need that much energy because our observable expanding universe is just a tiny fraction of a much larger universe, which would mean this notion that you need infinite energy for the expansion is silly. Like we have literally no idea how big the universe is, nor how much energy is required for the expansion of our universe.
I
You know,
wouldn't argue
we should get like
that.
we should get a third host who's a physicist for times like these.
Right.
Yeah,
Also,
I wouldn't.
we could grant you that you need like a fuck ton of energy. I still don't like see why that would be a sentient being or a god. It could literally just be a naturalistic force. If all you're saying is it exists by necessity, then I'm going to say that it's Lisa, the rainbow giraffe, and her only job is to create energy to expand the universe. Right? There's so many other options other than like a desert deity that wants his prophet to marry children.
Mm. Dr.
Okay, so
Blitz,
that would
welcome
lead me to
back. Are you
Am I
audible?
unraptured?
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
I should be
were you
audible.
listening?
I couldn't hear anything.
Okay. So let me I'll summarize the argument. You know, there's tons of energy in the universe, so much of it, and this guy can't imagine it being finite because there's so much of it, therefore it must be infinite.
It's a strong one.
Ah,
the source origin
so
with the current one.
so like what if the universe was finite, and hence there's a finite amount of matter in the universe, and hence the total energy equivalent of that matter, of that mass, from E equals mc squared is finite, then it seems like you don't need infinite energy.
Yeah, so regarding the universe, it is finite, even though it is extremely big. But I'm only using this to refer to the source of origin or it that is being infinite. But I'm not saying that it is also the source of origin or it. It can only be infinite. That is my opinion. But I would say that given into consideration that this enormous amount of energy, matter, etc., it can make me more inclined to believe that it is most likely, the source origin or it is by design infinite.
But is there an argument for that, or is it just like your opinion, man?
Opinion based on the what we can understand, perhaps, but
Okay,
not
so
necessarily that. If
can you provide the background or the basis for that opinion then? Because it sounds like it's kind of just vibes based.
yeah, so we just again based on our understanding, based on our like what we can do,
Okay,
what we can observe.
which part of our understanding leads you to that conclusion?
I would say in large, anything that is capable of being understanding, or like anything that is understandable, anything that is observable, anything that you can think of, anything that we can make. In general, I do not think that the amount of energy there will always remain the same. It will be consumed in the end. So some amount of energy.
Energy isn't a thing that's consumed.
I believe it is consumed. Yeah. Why you think it's otherwise?
No, it's at least in systems like Earth, it's just converted into heat.
Yeah, it converts from
It's not
shape to
lost.
another, etc. I do
Right,
believe
it's
it
not
gets
lost.
lost.
It's not
somehow.
consumed. It's just changed.
I refute that. I stand against it by default. I find that one of the false things that people
Okay,
keep repeating.
then you should probably go take like an introduction to chemistry or like an introduction to physics course, because like energy
No, it's people
conservation, at
make
least,
mistakes.
you know, at the scale of the Earth, at the
Understandable.
scale of the Milky Way, this is like a law of physics.
I know it's those who discover laws, like they are humans, they make mistakes. Even among science, they refute each other.
Ah,
Totally
okay,
fine.
so it is your position
Yeah.
that physicists are just wrong.
You guys,
So
you
I
just made a
thought your
mistake,
opinion
Blitz.
was
They make other physicists
I,
wrong,
I thought
yeah.
his opinion
Totally
I thought your
fine.
opinion was based off of what we understand, not based off of what you misunderstand.
I rebuke the conservation of
It goes
energy.
both ways. It goes both ways. Even science can misunderstand.
Well,
Okay, so
Being
then
not
why
a
are you
science,
basing it off of science?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Listen, LeBron, the problem with saying somebody can be wrong is that when you point the finger at somebody else, you got three pointing back at you. You could be wrong too. So just saying you
It goes
could be
both
wrong
ways.
will never be an argument.
But I will never stand in a position there that I have the absolute truth. As someone would say, most likely an atheist, say, okay, yeah, science says, well, science can be wrong. Very simple, straightforward.
Well, we're not claiming
But so then-
absolute truth. Go ahead, Blitz.
And
But as an
it sounds like
atheist, you always defend
originally
science.
it sounds like originally you were saying, you know, based off of like what we understand about the world, based off of it sounded like you were saying based off of science, that you thought that, you know, the source of the energy has to be infinite. But now you're just saying, well, science is wrong. So like which one is it?
Because science, science with themselves, they refute each other. That does not make them less science. Do you think that all science agree with each other? No. They did actually argument against each other arguments.
So
It's fine.
okay, so which part of science do you think is supporting your position here?
Some yes, some no. It does not matter. It's not a matter of
Okay,
like 1 plus
which
2.
part of science, which scientific experiments, which scientific, you know, models, which are supporting your position here?
I need none. All I need is my observation, my humble observation,
so-
and some
Then it just sounds like your position is merely an opinion, and it's not based on anything that anyone understands except perhaps yourself.
You know,
It's
science
just
is a
a lie.
liar
Describe your own
sometimes. Let me give you a
Describe
far
science
more
itself.
plausible methodology.
You're describing science itself. That's how science started. Haven't it?
Well, no, but also, I was asking for the justification of your belief. You have some belief about the source requiring infinite energy, and you said based off of what we understand, which I took that to mean based off of scientific understanding, but apparently you don't mean that. So what is the justification for the belief that the source of the universe is infinite?
Yeah, that's again. I take it from my own observation, not necessarily yours and or others. And
Okay, so
you
not
can
based
say
on
that
what we understand, it's based off of what you misunderstand? Is that what we're getting at?
But who determines that I am misunderstanding something?
The rest of the world.
What if they were wrong as well?
Ah, yes, everybody's wrong
Being
but
right
me.
does not make you right.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's a powerful argument. Have you considered
really
that
is.
everybody's wrong?
Well,
No
let's
worries,
let's
yeah.
just put it like
Possible,
this,
yeah,
right?
possible.
You know, could science be wrong? Yeah, science could be wrong. So at that point, it's a question of the evidence. So there's tons and tons of evidence for things like, you know, conservation of energy. That energy isn't just like popping out of existence. You know, we've never observed it. We've and Blitz could correct me on this, but we've only observed it like transfer states at the scale of Earth. So I mean,
Yep.
you know, all of the evidence would suggest that that there's that what we're saying is correct with respect to energy and there being a finite amount of it, or at least like the argument that you're giving for there being an infinite amount not being justified.
Well, in the end, you can take science in every direction. You know, there is the leftists who take science. Say, okay, you are women. Give me a source. It's very simple. Like, you know, you can take whatever your whims tells you to do.
Yes,
However,
the
in the end,
leftist and their whims.
yeah. And in the end, like,
Why do you
people
guys
in
always have to
general
pivot to
think
trans
their
people when
whims.
you're getting blown out?
Yeah.
Bro, atheists just worship their whims. They stop themselves from believing into anything, as they have the absolute
The
truth.
projection's
simple
getting
principle.
crazy in here.
That's really funny. Yeah, we're the dogmatic ones, of course, you know. The guy who threw out literally all of science multiple times.
Yeah. It's pretty
I
crazy.
think
Do you think the Quran understands cosmology? Is this where you're getting this from? Because the Quran doesn't understand cosmology either. It says that the stars.
not it
Let me
has
ask
to,
you a
bro.
question.
Not it has
Where
to.
where is the lowest
The Quran, not
heaven?
it has to.
Where's the
The
lowest
Quran just told us
heaven?
to worship.
Where's the
Quran told us
lowest
to worship
heaven?
God. That's it.
Where's the lowest heaven?
I have, what's about it?
Where is the lowest heaven?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Okay, if there are 7 heavens, and I say in the lowest heaven, which one is that?
I have no idea. There should be a full context for it, and someone who made a good explanation for that. I'm
So
not
you-
that person to make.
So you don't
But-
know what the lowest heaven is? From our vantage point, don't you
Wait.
think the lowest heaven would be the one closest
But
to the
you do not-
ground?
Hold on.
You do not
Now I'm
even
very
believe the
confused,
Quran, so
Albra.
you're
So
confident.
wait a minute. I thought we were just going based off of your own observations, not based off of what the experts say.
Yeah, hold on. But you don't even believe in the Quran, so why you're quoting it? It makes no sense, bro.
Because you do, and
I'm
this
telling-
conversation is incredibly boring, and I want to get something out of it.
Because in the end, you just worship your whim. That's it. Like you think you have absolute truth, so you don't. And you just
we-
mentioned,
We don't
You-
have
a man
absolute
married a
truth,
young woman,
unless
it's fine.
maybe Blitz and Ian has
In
absolute
US,
truth.
how-
Do you two have
okay,
absolute truth?
in
Because I don't have it.
It
Okay,
depends what we
that's
mean by
good.
absolute truth, but I
What
mean,
is the
with
legal
respect to
age?
this conversation, no. I think
what?
we've said like pretty directly that science, of course, could be wrong.
Well,
but
I mean,
you
be
know,
careful.
The,
We do
the
have absolute
evidence
truth.
is
We do
just
have
going
absolute-
to suggest otherwise.
We do have absolute truth about this conversation that it's going nowhere and that the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That's absolutely true.
That
That's
certainly
true.
seems to be the case. Do you think that the stars are used as missiles to kill demons?
If God says so, it is so, as it is.
There you
Do you know
go.
we don't-
Allah,
so-
Allah is up there playing like Bloons Tower Defense
So we're
with the
confident.
stars?
Honestly, though, like it is a good game, though.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah, some
it makes no
Battlestar
sense to you, you
Galactica
don't
going
believe it.
on.
Why you quoting? Why you
Okay,
quoting
old
it then?
man,
It
it's
makes
time
no
for bed.
sense. Yeah, you just worship your whim. That's it. No guide, nothing. Just worship your whim, and that's it. Okay,
Okay.
give me logical reason.
Well, to
of
be
why
clear,
you don't-
by the way, just in case you don't know, Albra, you should worship your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever. That is a good way to have a happy relationship, okay?
True.
And the
Facts.
fact that you think that that's like lame and bad, it just like you're gonna die alone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. All right, well, I cut him for the sake of our audience, and we'll get
Oh.
our next guest in here. He didn't have anything, and he didn't want to read the Quran with us, so he really, we're at the end of the...
Did
end
we
of
even
the-
get confirmation that he was Muslim?
Yeah, he said when
he
he came
claimed it.
in. And,
Okay.
They call me Grim. Is this a rebranded Grimlock, or no?
Could be.
I
Well,
don't think
Grim,
so.
welcome
No,
in.
maybe not.
Grim says gibberating is now one of my favorite terms. It's a really good
Good.
term. I never
Good.
heard it until
Coined
Ian
it.
said it.
Good. It's a Discord word.
Well,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
but it didn't originate. I don't think it originated from Discord.
That could be the case. I mean, it's obviously a derivative of like gibberish, but
So apparently, it predates Discord on Urban Dictionary.
Oh, dang.
mm,
Yantu, thank you for the $20 super chat. Good to see you this morning. Says, if these 3 were candy bars, Justin, I think you meant to say Mr. Goodbar, not me Goodbar, but yeah, Mr. Goodbar, Dr. Blitz, Almond Joy, and
Yeah.
Ian is Mounds?
the
I want to
fuck?
know how we came up with this.
Okay, what are these candy bars? Who's
Mounds?
what is this? The 1950s?
Goddamn mounds! You should have got.
Almond Joy? Am I like a 75-year-old man to you? Yes, give me an almond joy. Yes, I like nuts in my chocolate bar. Like what?
To be fair, mounds are amazing, but if you don't like coconut, I get it. You're not gonna like mounds. Rock art for Doug, Simply Wet for sharing, Gabe for Justin, binging for Blitz, allegedly Ian. Oh, sorry, alleging
Alleging.
Ian. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, thank you, Yantu. It's good to see you, friend. And we've got some new members. Miko, thank you for sending out one unapologetic gifted membership and then followed up by another unapologetic gifted membership. Super appreciate that, friend. And Maddie says, oink, oink, zoo pals. No idea what that means. You guys know that?
You don't know
one?
what that means? You don't know. He doesn't know the gospel. Oink oink zoo pals. Ribbit ribbit zoo pals.
Even I know this, and I'm not even Gen
zoo
Z.
Pals. Zoo pals makes eating
Makes eating
fun.
fun.
It's so weird. I was thinking about this just this morning
Why?
because in Mandarin they have like different onomatopoeias. Like, for example, like dogs don't say woof woof, they say wong wong, and frogs say gua gua. So I was like, wow, somebody needs to remake this with like the Mandarin onomatopoeias.
Well, you could be the one. Kelly, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. It says, I'm holding my Bible, but since November, I'm too heartbroken to open it. It's a psychopath. In the meantime, thanks for the help team. So, Kelly, I totally get it. I remember, so after I fully became an atheist, I stopped reading the Bible for a long time. In fact, when I started streaming online, I had to go find my resources. I put all my schoolwork away. I put my Bible away. I was like, this is all useless stuff. And then I had to kind of relearn everything. It had been years since I was really in the material. But I get it when you're in that phase of deconstruction where you realize it's all bullshit. What's the point of even reading this thing? But eventually, when you get further along in your deconstruction, you kind of get past that phase, and then you could read the Bible just as a piece of literature, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting literature once there's no longer a real God behind it.
Some of it is. But then you get to Genesis 4 and Genesis 5, and it's like X begat Y, and Y begat Z, but Z was not the begotten of A, for Z was the begotten of Y. It's just like that for pages upon pages.
To be fair, the begats they can be hard to stomach.
And then also just the entirety of Leviticus is yes, you should beat your women and your slaves unless they're Jewish. Then you can only beat them sometimes, except on Saturdays. And it's just that for an entire book.
Except don't forget about the tabernacle. Don't you want to know how to make your own tabernacle?
There's something about a pigeon. So in my bar mitzvah bit, there was something about a pigeon. I don't remember anything else, but pigeons were involved. I think there were 600 of them too. I don't know why, but that's what I remember.
That's crazy. Listen, I'm a little mad that I grew up in the Catholic Church and I didn't get 600 pigeons. All I'm saying is that.
Well, I didn't get 600 pigeons. I think that was in. So it was a Leviticus Torah portion, and I think that there were pigeons involved, but I don't remember when or why.
Jeff, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, panel, this is the best evidence or data available. Theus, science can be wrong. Have you considered nuh-uh? And that certainly is a powerful retort. It's intriguing to me that these believers in God really think that everybody's wrong but them, and they've never considered that maybe they're wrong. What a weird world to live in. Last super chat from the big Vlad. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, can you ask Dr. Blitz? Well, actually, you're asking him right now why he tasered me in a Walmart parking lot yesterday. I just wanted his autograph, and he went berserk and zapped me with dual-wielded tasers.
Look, I mean, when you go up and rub up on somebody that you've never met before, you're going to get tased. It's just going to happen.
Crazy.
Tell me about it.
Is anyone old enough to remember Don't Tase Me, Bro? No?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just checking.
What do you take me for?
All right, let's get Caleb from our YouTube queue. They were here next, and also our TikTok guest dropped, so we're gonna grab Caleb here. Oop, wrong button. 1 second. Here we go. Scene number 2. Welcome in, Caleb. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do.
Cool. And which God do you believe in?
Well, I think there's a strong case for a cause of the universe and probably a God, but I don't know that the resurrection happened specifically, but I would like to make a case for theism, if that's okay. If that
Sure.
works for you. All right, cool. So I think that the best argument for the existence of God is the Kalam. So I guess obviously y'all have probably heard it a million times. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a cause. And for Ian specifically, I've heard him talk a lot about that. He thinks that an infinite causal regress is actually possible. Mm-hmm. But I think this is probably one of his biggest flaws because have you heard the paper passer thought experiment before?
Yeah.
You have I think that's very convincing. How would you specifically debunk that?
So my understanding, or do you want to lay it out? Because my understanding is that it's like a Bernadette's paradox, but I forget like the specific details of it.
Yeah, for sure. So imagine there's a person called a paper passer at every single January 1st of every single year, starting this year and every single year into the past. And their job was just to receive a piece of paper. And then if that piece of paper has a number on it, preferably a what year it is, then they just pass it on to the paper passer the next year. But then if that piece of paper is blank, then they write whatever year it is on that piece of paper. And then, so I guess the question is, assuming an infinite causal regress, what number would be written on, or what year would be written on that piece of paper? And then, like, it can't be a specific number, I guess, but it also has to be a number, right? So I guess it's like a paradox.
So my understanding is that you can run the exact same sort of argument, except you can instead, and I know Blitz is more familiar with this than I am, but you could take like the exact same sort of setup and then just put it in like a circle and then have the exact same paradox despite the fact that it's finite. So it seems like the source of the paradox is not the infinityness of it, but rather like the nature of the activity that's being posited. Blitz, do you remember what the specific like parallel
I do,
argument is?
and the analogy here is, imagine that you had a digital readout display, a circle of digital readout displays, and the digital readout displays are such that, so imagine that they're arranged in a circle. Each readout display, if the one to its like one readout display that's counterclockwise of it, if it's displaying a number, then have the current one display the next number. And if it's not displaying a number, then it should read out 1. And so if you arrange a circle with that rule, then this would suggest that you have a paradox. Because you would have a circle of like, 100 digital readout displays, which must always have a number on it. But what number do they have on it? Because if they didn't have a number, then the next one would have a number. And so then the next one would have a number, and so on. And so what number would that digital readout display? Well, you run into the exact same issue. And surely this doesn't mean that you can't have a circle of displays.
Wait, sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what do you mean by a digital readout display? I meant to say it earlier, I just didn't want to interrupt.
Like a digital clock, right?
Oh, okay.
Like it just displays a number on
Yeah.
it. It's like
Okay.
a digital thing that displays a number.
So I did not want to interrupt you, but I kind of
You're
didn't
fine.
understand the.
Yeah, okay. So imagine that you just have like a screen, and the screen you have a circle of like 100 screens that are arranged in a circle, right?
Okay.
And on each screen, it's connected to the screen to its left, say. And if the screen to its left displays a number, then the screen that you're looking at will display the next number. But if the screen to its left doesn't display a number, it will display the number 1. So then the question is, what number does any of the screens display? Or do any of the screens display?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Is there like a name for that? Because I want to look into that.
It's similar to something that what's his name?
Joe Schmidt?
It's similar to Joe Schmidt's thing, but I modified it to adjust for the or for the note passing thing.
Sure.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it seems like the problem is not the infinity of it, but rather like the nature of the thing. Insofar as you can get the exact same paradox to arise from a finite setup.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'll look into that for sure. I'm gonna look up. Wait, so you said Joe Schmidt was talking about this from?
Yeah, Joe Schmidt wrote a paper about this with somebody else, right?
I think it's Detroiter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm not familiar. I'll just look up Joe Schmidt. Or number. Okay, and one other thing that I was going to tell you, and I'll concede that point because I haven't heard that and I got to look into that. But so I don't know if this is like a argument, Ian, that you use a lot. I saw you use it once, and I actually thought it was very convincing. And then I thought about it a little bit more. So you said that also this was like sort of your syllogism. It was that all causes are before simultaneous to their effects, and then if premise 1, then all causes are in time, and if premise 2, then all causes are in the universe. And then if premise 3, then the universe is uncaused. Is this something that you would like represent? Do you think this is?
I have a much better argument against God's existence at this point.
Okay, or against the I guess you would say the causation of the universe.
Yeah. It's like in the same vein of like God being unable to actually take actions. But I mean, I find that argument convincing. I think that there's just on the basis that we don't have any accounts of causation that would be able to get out of that. But maybe you want to say that causation is like a different sort of thing, and that we just don't understand. Like we just know like literally nothing about causation. Maybe that's the position you want to take. Fine, sure. But an argument that I think is like quite robust that I've been working on. If God is the metaphysical foundation, then he couldn't depend on anything for his existence. That means that he would need to be divinely simple, insofar as a thing with parts is always going to depend on its parts for existence, so then God couldn't have parts. But if God doesn't have parts, that means that he can't change, because any change to him wouldn't be to any of the parts, it would be to like the entirety of him, which means that God must be an absolutely unchanging being. That's a big problem. Prior to creation, God isn't a creator. After creation, God is a creator. God must change. So God would be both absolutely unchanging, but in order to create the universe, he must change.
Right, right. I wanted to specifically focus on the cosmological argument, because I'll grant that that's pretty convincing, and I actually I find a lot of arguments against theism very convincing, and then only one argument for theism convincing, which is the cosmological argument. So I'll grant you that that's very convincing.
Sure.
But I wanted to focus on that the cosmological argument,
Well,
and I think that. Sorry.
What if we granted you that there was a beginning? Because the cosmological argument doesn't actually get you to God; it just gets you to like a prime mover. What would be the argument that gets you to God?
Well, so are you just like granted for the sake of this? Or are you just granting?
Yeah, just for fun. Let's imagine we granted you that the Kalam is true. Where do we get God?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think, and I'm not as I haven't studied this part of it as much, but I think from my and I guess intuition is not a very reliable way of going about finding truth, but I mean, it seems to me like it would have to be omnipotent.
Why?
I mean, to bring the universe itself into existence. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I need to like look at that a lot more. But
so the trick here is that like you can have a cause that isn't even an agent, right? It doesn't even have to be a person. It could be like some phenomenon that is ultimately groundless and is the foundation of things, and it just doesn't have any agency. So, and then it's probably not reasonable to even talk about how much power it has or how much knowledge it has, because these are qualities that we typically ascribe to agents. Or you could say that, like, perhaps it's like fundamentally like mathematical in origin, in which case the cause is more of like an ontological necessitating rather than like some sort of action that took place. But the point is that it's not clear that just because the universe had a beginning and the universe had some sort of cause, that means that you get a personal agent that actually caused it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That does. I guess you would have to. I guess some of the more convincing arguments would be like for Christianity. Probably not. Can we? Yeah, I do need to look into that a lot more. I'll grant you that I don't know specifically a lot of great arguments to go from cause to God. But
Fair
can
enough.
we? I did want to like. I did think this was interesting, so I wanted to go back to your argument that or against the universe is caused. And
Yeah,
I wanted to
actually,
say
sure.
that-
Let's go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, I found that one convincing, and then I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, okay, I don't think it's a contradiction to say that the universe, or sorry, time. So you were saying that atemporal causation is not logical. I guess.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then your first premise in whatever debate I was watching kind of a while ago, it was that all causes are before or simultaneous to their effects, right?
Yep.
And then I would grant you that a cause before time itself is contradictory, but simultaneous. I mean, a cause that is simultaneous. So the cause is acting as a cause simultaneous to time itself coming into being. I don't think that's really. I don't find that contradictory.
So,
Well,
yeah, go for it.
So look, if time begins at say t equals 0, let's say that's when time begins, and the cause of time beginning is simultaneous with time beginning, then that means that the cause of time beginning was at t equals 0, which means that the cause was in time.
Yeah. So the cause isn't time. So that's
Which,
not.
well, but then the question is like, okay, so your cause is not timeless?
This is making me think. Well, I guess it can step into time, right? I mean, it can't. Sorry, it can't. It's not like it's both, right?
That becomes a little bit tenuous, right? It can't be both timeless and not timeless.
Yeah,
I mean, it
like
can step
either it
out of
has a
time, or it
temporal
can-
location or it doesn't.
I mean, I guess I would probably have to establish this, but I guess that when we say God, we mean an omnipresent God. So he's like,
He's
um,
everywhere,
yeah. So he
but
can be
outside of space is not part of everywhere.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I just don't know that it would be the biggest fallacy to say that God is both in time and outside of time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know. Or maybe, yeah.
I mean, it is a little
Maybe
weird, right? To
establish that.
say
Yeah.
that God is in time means that God is that there is like a moment of time that God exists in the same way that you and I exist at a moment of time right now, right? Like, you know, it's 9:56 in the morning for me. That is the moment of time that I am in. Does it make sense to say that I'm also somewhere else or also someone else? Like, even if I was like ultimately powerful, would that make sense? Is that even like a sensible thing to say?
I mean, if you were the cause of the universe, I think it would. Like if, yeah.
Would it? I mean, like,
Maybe
look,
I need to
it's
establish
it's
that.
just
Maybe
so
I need to establish that.
it's just really tricky because on the one hand, you want to say that somehow God is outside of time, right? And that there is in some sense that God existed without the universe existing. It wasn't like the universe has always existed and then God always existed with it, right?
Right.
It was like there was some state of affairs where God existed. And then there was some, maybe you would say, subsequent state of affairs where God existed and the universe existed.
Mm-hmm.
And the trouble is once you have like some sort of subsequence, it's just not clear that the thing was outside of time to begin with.
Right. I think the main part of this of your argument, Ian, is that a cause cannot be like if all causes are in time, then how do you have a cause before time itself?
Mhm.
And I'm saying that this cause actually was in time.
So
If that makes sense.
yeah, I do think that runs into like the exact problem that's being highlighted because okay, so the cause happens in God's atemporal state, so it's atemporal, but then also because it's simultaneous to the beginning, it seems like it would unavoidably both lack a temporal position, but then also have one.
But I'm just using it as the word, like for the word cause. I'm just using the word cause, and I'm saying that this is not atemporal causation. Like this is temporal causation. Does that make sense?
But wouldn't the act happen in God's timeless state?
Yeah, it does make sense. It makes sense what y'all are saying. I'm not gonna lie, it does.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
So Caleb, there is actually an out here. And I only say this because like you seem like you're coming in good faith and interested in learning. One of the ways that you can get out of this is you can just imagine that time is just a thing that exists independently of God, or perhaps it's like part of God, but it's not like our time, it's like God time. So think of like a baker. A baker is in a bakery. You know, there's a clock on the wall. The baker, imagine that the clock is part of the baker. Now the baker, with their own clock, they could go and they could make a loaf of bread. And the loaf of bread has a beginning. In the sense that, like, you know, there's the first slice,
Right.
which is like the first moment of time, and then there's a latter slice, which is a latter moment of time. And then, you know, you can just bake the bread entirely as a whole thing, and that creation event took place in like meta time or God time or something like this. And so you can get out of this kind of issue of like atemporal causation by just having kind of two distinct notions of time, one for God and one for the universe. But it does seem to make things a lot more complicated, right? If you have to
Right.
invoke that.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
you know, it's something to think about at least.
If you want like an interesting reading on this, Ryan Mullins has a book. I think the full PDF for the book is available online. It's titled "From Divine time maker to divine watchmaker, and it lays out the position that time is like an aspect of God, which I don't know. That seems to be the most defensible relationship to time that I've ever heard, for God to have. But yeah, I
Could you
just
say the title one more time?
the title, from divine time maker to divine watchmaker, I think is the title.
And by the way, there is one issue with this, which is that it sort of conflicts with relativity. Relativity, the best way to understand relativity is just if you can make a statement about time, you should be able to make a similar statement about space. And so if we're going to say that time is like part of God, then if you want to stay, spiritually in alignment with relativity, you should also say that space is part of God. In which case, you're just saying that the universe is God.
It does
Which
seem to collapse
gets
into
you-
pantheism. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which, perhaps is a defensible position, but it's probably not the position you want to defend.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I appreciate y'all a lot for this.
Yep.
It's great conversation.
Oh, also, if you want to, this was a wonderful conversation. You seem like a great person. I hope you come back at some point in the future. But
Yep.
if you also are interested in the article from Joe Schmid and Troy,
I love Joe
it's
Schmid.
titled "Grim Reaper Paradoxes and
Yeah.
Patchwork Principles: Severing the Case for Finitism."
Oh, I think I watched that YouTube video actually.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Thank y'all. Oh, and by the way, the Jordan Peterson video, you absolutely destroyed it. It made me so mad. I was so.
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually
You were
feel
mad.
I feel bad for
I was
Christians.
just
I feel
like,
bad that that's like the
Jordan.
like that's the guy that you got. Like instead of like somebody who's like even remotely competent at defending the faith, you got like Jordan Peterson. Like I actually think that's like super fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think? Who do you think's the best Christian debater? Do you think?
Oh,
Do you like William Lane Craig? I was gonna ask you about that. I actually met him.
I'm sorry.
I don't
you
like
like
William
him?
Lane
You like
Craig
him?
for personal reasons. But
Oh, really?
like I think he's a very competent debater. Like he's very good at what he does. But I don't think I think he's like dishonest. And I don't know. Like do you know Majesty of Reason, right? You said you
Yeah, of
watched the
course.
video. He Majesty of Reason came out with like a paper recently about the modal ontological argument. And William Lane Craig made like a video like making fun of the paper, and it was like very clear
seriously?
that he didn't watch it. There's
And
like
also, it was just like really scummy as like a senior academic making fun of like a junior academic. Like that's just really scummy.
That is, yeah. I'll admit.
yeah, but he's a very
know
good
that.
debater. I think Trent Horn is like a very competent
Horn, oh, I
debater.
love
Like
him,
he's I don't think that he's right, but I think that he's like clearly competent at what he does.
Yeah, I like Trent Horn probably the best. But yeah. All right. Thank y'all a lot. Super.
All right.
Yep.
Cheers, Caleb.
Have a good one.
Hey, nice young man. Okay.
Yeah, what a cool guy. Jeez.
Right? Well, hopefully he's in a long-term pursuit of truth, and we'll find some of it. House 70, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. So saying that if the book says so, it's true, while denying any and all science has achieved, understood, feels like it's a Bronze Age again. I mean, that's what they're, maybe not in on purpose, but that's what they're basically bringing back is Bronze Age thinking. The idea that there's a magic man in the sky and you can't question him. Although they don't think he's in the sky anymore. They have to put him somewhere out like in outer space.
Yeah, because we have planes and spacecraft.
Right.
So, I saw a video, and I was actually going to record this, but I woke up too late. There was a video of a guy. It was like a flat earther, and it was like a video of like a bunch of people in a hot air balloon bumping into the firmament, and then saying, "Oh my God, it's water! It's water!" And like, it really is that the world? I mean, like, to be clear, like you wouldn't survive in a hot air balloon more than like 5 or 6 miles up. So like you're not going to be shouting, "Oh, it's water, which means that the firmament is like lower than cruising altitude for an airplane. Anyway, but like that's the kind of thinking that they used to do, and we don't want to go back to that. We don't want to go back to flat Earth cosmologies.
Not at all. Not at all. Jillian says he tased me too. What is going on, Blitz? Are you a violent
People,
taser?
you can't just touch people without their consent. why do you guys keep touching me in parking lots?
Yeah.
I think there's some backstory I'm missing. Is somebody accosting Dr. Blitz in parking lots? Oh no,
Yeah, it's a reoccurring thing.
that seems problematic. Craig, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says Ian, when preceptors claim you're committing to quoque, when stating their worldview can't justify laws of logic either, how do you explain to them this is misapplication of the fallacy?
Well, what I think the presuppositionalist kind of wants it both ways. What they want to do like some paradigm level justification to figure out which paradigm is able to account for the things, but then also they want to be doing like the, you can't evaluate my paradigm though thing. So if they want it to be a paradigm level evaluation, then surely this argument can't get any progress. This argument simply can't make any progress. Like you couldn't possibly be convinced by their worldview or by like Christianity if Christianity likewise succumbs to the same problem. So like the goal of like trying to bring you to Christianity, like it's just incompatible with you changing your position. Like
Yeah.
maybe at best, what you do is like you say, okay, well maybe my position about this is wrong, but like I'm not going to come to your position because likewise your position is wrong.
Right. The goal of precept is to find a reason to not believe the atheist worldview and never take account of your own worldview. It's just a hey, look over there the entire time. House 70 says, will Unapologetic have a podcast? That would be fire. I don't know. Should we podcast these?
I mean, it kind of already is, isn't it? Like we
Well-
could just upload these to like
Yeah.
Spotify or whatever.
Yep.
But it kind of already is,
I mean,
just not in the usual
really,
format.
yeah. I mean, we could do that. Are there enough podcast listeners that would listen on podcast rather than watch on YouTube? I don't know. But we certainly could do it. That's something within the realm of capabilities. I've got software that'll make the audio stripping go pretty quickly. But we'll think about that. Thanks for the suggestion.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Although I think that they were really just asking for, will there be a thing where it's just the three of us just chatting with each other rather than talking to guests? And like that could happen, but like, I don't think any of us have anything interesting enough to say to each other. Maybe we do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't consider that. I mean, we could fill some time, but I think we'd run out of stuff pretty quickly to talk about because we agree on so much. But I did have a question, Dr. Blitz. What's the argument for dark energy existing other than the expansion of the universe? Is there anything else that we need it for?
That's basically it.
Okay.
So if there were no dark energy, the way that this is all contingent on general relativity being true. If general relativity is not true, if there's something else that we just missed and general relativity is just almost true, then this is all out the window. But if general relativity is true, then you go out and you look in the universe. Maybe you can even account for dark matter. You see a whole bunch of matter, and you see the conditions of the universe as they are now. You see the cosmic microwave background radiation. That basically fixes how the evolution of the universe has happened. So the cosmic microwave background radiation, its size then compared with its size now, and then you can basically infer the entire trajectory. It's just a standard differential equation. And if you don't include some extra forcing term, what you get is that the universe, the universe's behavior in between the cosmic microwave background radiation and the way it is now doesn't match with the way that it looks. So like we can look halfway back between now and then by looking at distant galaxies, and those distant galaxies look different, as in like their spacing is different than we would expect it to be if there was nothing driving some extra expansion. And so dark energy is merely just this idea that, look, there's something else driving the expansion, at least there was in the past, that accounted for this extra difference that we shouldn't expect to see otherwise.
So if, I don't know, I've been learning about like this theoretical black hole bounce concept. If there is such a thing as like a black hole bounce, where in order to avoid singularity, we have, for lack of words, like an explosion out of a black hole that flings everything outward, could that account for the expansion rather than dark energy, or do we still need dark energy?
No. So
Okay.
the issue is that basically one would expect, so again, you have the initial conditions fixed by the cosmic microwave background radiation. So I guess one way to think about this is you have initial conditions. Imagine that you see somebody throw a ball upwards, and you just take a snapshot, and you know how fast it was expanding upwards, or you know how fast it was moving upwards, and then let me rephrase. You don't know how fast it was going. You only know where it was, how high it was, say at some initial time, and then you take another snapshot at some later time, some height in the air. So from those two things, you can infer a lot about the motion of if you know the time between them, for example, you can infer a lot about the motion of the ball. And what you'd find is that, the ball, it leaves and then it must be slowing down. It's slowing down as it gets higher and then it eventually drops back down. And if you didn't have dark energy, you would basically expect our universe to do that. And this would be true even if there was a black hole bounce. This would be true regardless. As long as general relativity is true, this would be true regardless. But what we see is that if you take a snapshot in the middle, it actually seems like it's speeding up. Mm-hmm. And so there's just some extra factor that doesn't really have anything to do with the Big Bang. It's something that happened 5-6 billion years ago that started to kind of dominate the way that the universe behaves and cause an accelerated expansion rather than a decelerating expansion.
Okay. I might ask follow-up questions after the
show.
Sure. From Vino Rosa says, Ian, love this quote from yesterday. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake or when they're making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Good quote.
Isn't that Sun Tzu?
Well, the quote said that it was from Napoleon, but I imagine it's probably a fake quote. But regardless, yeah, there's a dude who's seriously crashing and burning. By the way, this guy's definitely getting made into content. But he was crashing and burning, and he was trying to salvage his dog shit position. And he just kept on rambling and digging himself into a deeper and more nonsensical hole, like he was scrambling. So I just sat there in silence for 3 minutes while he.
It was crazy. I
freaking
listened to this.
out.
I can't wait for that clip to come out.
Mm-hmm. And then I displayed on screen a quote, with the picture of Napoleon, never interrupt your opponent when he's making a mistake, at the end of it. So yeah,
it's pretty savage. G3 Rain, thank you for the super chat, says, I was about to propose the meta time baker analogy as you started saying it. Here's your super chat anyways. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Definitely appreciate that. And rock hard for Doug. Good to see you this morning. Thank you for the $10 super chat. It says, if the Christian God was outside of time when he regretted creating humanity and washed them away with a flood, he could have just rewinded time and recreated them better.
Well, not if he baked the bread. If the bread is already done, then this just means that he kind of screwed up on the bread. But then it doesn't actually work, right? The Old Testament stories just don't work, because then it's what do you mean that God was looking through the slices of the bread that he had already baked? He was looking through the slices of the bread, and then he saw one of the slices is kind of crappy, and so then he just changed the later slice. How would you do that if the later slice is already made?
Yeah.
So it just this whole outside of time thing, it does not make any sense with the God of the the God of the Christian or the Hebrew Bible, really.
I also don't understand how you could feel sorrow or disappointment for a thing that you knew was going to happen because of the thing that you did.
The bread has free will, don't you see?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
It seems probably a critique. Okay, I think the theist probably wants to say that God is perfectly rational. One of the implications of that is that God feels emotions that are appropriate. And let's set aside the issue of God feeling emotions. That's super weird given he's outside of time. But, it just doesn't seem like regret is an appropriate emotion to feel for the thing that you omnisciently knew was going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. Speaking of which, Adele, thank you for the $20 super chat. Good to see you this morning. Adele says, I'm just loving that Justin just said none of you guys have that much to talk about to each other about, and now you've been chatting for at least 5 minutes. I would totally listen for what it's worth. Well, thank you. Definitely appreciate that. And I don't know, I feel like maybe we could fill some time just chatting with each other, but We need a program of some nature.
What it would become, what it would become is Justin and Ian ask me physics questions.
Yeah.
Justin and I ask Ian philosophy questions, and then Ian and I ask Justin Bible questions. And then it just becomes like a mini lecture, which that might be entertaining for some people, but like that's what it would boil down to, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. I mean, I would find it to be fun, but I don't know if I was a viewer if I would tune into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know. Also, I think our schedules
it's also
are pretty
a question
full.
of like opportunity costs.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be some number of hours out of all of our days on some day.
Which are already pretty busy.
Yeah,
generally.
yeah, exactly. Like this is time that I could spend reading or doing like something. And, I ask Justin and Blitz questions whenever I think of one, but I just do that over text.
Also,
I don't
does
have
the
like
world really need 3 more, white male presenting people with a podcast?
There's so many.
Don't we have enough of those?
Yeah.
Probably. I think that's the case. David, good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for the $50 super chat. That is super generous, friend. Says, I've been watching all shows after the fact, fine-tuning, listening to so many illogical Christians, each with his, her, or they unique weird God, proves he didn't care enough to fine-tune even one of them. It's idiotic, reinforces it can't exist. So, so many of these arguments can work for any deity concept. And I think that tells me that they're just not good arguments. Like they're not sufficient to get you to your specific God, which means they're just more like copes than arguments. Were you gonna say, Ian?
Yeah, I actually love I love this argument. I love a good thinly veiled ad hom. And I think that there's probably like a real argument to be made that the fact that your opponent keeps making like basic logical blunders is probably more expected under naturalism than it is under theism. Like the fact that your opponent can't track like a basic argument or keeps on like committing like obvious logical fallacies just seems to be evidence against the existence of a God that would want you to know things.
I mean, just think about this in terms of like Dungeons and Dragons, right? If you have a cleric, the cleric's main stat is wisdom. Depends on the game that you're playing, of course. But like, you would expect that, and in the game, by the way, the gods are real. And so you have these extremely wise clerics, defenders of the faith even. Charisma sometimes also, depending on what version you're playing. But anyway, you would expect that would be true here, that like the defenders of the faith, they would have the best arguments because, they're the ones that are inspired by the ultimate foundation of reality, but they don't.
Yeah, I agree with that. It also seems like the existence of cognitive biases and things that will lead you to do faulty reasoning, they seem to actually detract from free will. It's not clear how we can make like free choices if we're making like systematic errors.
Well, friends, if you want to come up and talk about your God, the link is on the screen. It's tiny.cc/you a guest. If you're on TikTok, you can hit that guest request button and we'll pull you up. You don't have to, if you're on YouTube, by the way, you don't have to sign up for anything. We don't need your email address, nothing. You don't have to have a YouTube account. I mean, you do since you're on YouTube. But we're going to we got 2 more super chats. Right now, we actually, surprisingly, for the first time in a long time, ran out of guests, which is a weird thing. Wonder if there's,
despite having 1,600 people watching, by the way.
I know, right? what a weird morning. Cameron, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, could Blitz look up the tau effects and kappa effects and see if these could affect our detection of space expanding, or are these effects unrelated?
I've never heard of these.
Sounds like a Ligma setup.
And okay, so the kappa effect is a temporal perceptual illusion. Seems unrelated. I have no idea what the tau effect is. Oh, the tau effect also has a Wikipedia page. Spatial perceptual illusion. It arises when observers judge the distance between consecutive stimuli in a stimulus sequence. Distance from one stimulus to the next is constant in the time elapsed from one. No, not really. Like we use this is not like, we're not really using our eyes and our brains to analyze these. We're just using formulas. And so like, unless you're saying that these effects, the kappa effect and the tau effect, unless you're saying that like our formulas could like inaccurate or could misrepresent the data as saying one thing as opposed to another, then no, not really.
Yeah. And
At least not as far as I'm aware.
Barnabas says, YouTube Premium subscriber here. I listen to your lives like podcasts. There are ways of doing this without premium too. Actually, there's quite a few ways to do it. But yeah, I mean, I don't fully see the value in doing a podcast only, at least not yet. Maybe one day we'll be so big, we'll have so many people demanding it.
If Ian ever quits their job, and if we become enormous, then maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a question of like what the return on investment would be.
Ian, you're gonna have to get your priorities straight and quit your job.
I know. It's allow that to be incentive. I would love to. Well, I love my job, but I would definitely quit it if I was able to do so, and it wouldn't be like obviously an absurd decision.
Right. And we got
Makes sense.
one guest, so we'll grab our guest here in just a moment. Simeon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, I'd probably say I'm a moral anti-realist, and legitimately I can't comprehend how morals are objective, but I would love to hear Ian's case for them being objective, so I could at least try to get it.
Yep. So I think the best version of moral realism is going to fall under something like a project called constructivism, which basically holds that all the reasons that anyone has for action comes from what are called the ends that they've set up in their lives, which broadly understood are like the goals, but not just like the goals that you think about doing or like the goals you think about adopting, but the ones that you're like actively trying to bring about. That's what we mean by an end. So all the reasons that you have for any action are going to stem from your ends, the sort of goals that you have. So the way that we would arrive at like objective morality is by identifying some sort of universal reason for action that everybody has to take a specific set of actions. And presumably the way we would do that is by identifying some shared end that everybody has. So an argument that I might give for the position is this. I'm an agent. What that means is that I have I take actions to pursue goals, or rather, like I take means to achieve ends in the language that we were just discussing. But in order to achieve literally any end, I'm going to need my freedom and well-being. What that means, because ends are reason giving, that means that I have a reason to have my freedom and well-being, since they're necessary to achieve any end. But if I ought have it, then you ought not interfere with it. And if you ought not interfere with it, then what I'm saying is that I have a right to it, just on the basis of my agency. We reasoned from I'm an agent to therefore I have a right to freedom and well-being. But in order to remain logically consistent, we would need to say that, in virtue of the fact that I'm an agent, I have this right, which means that all agents must likewise have this right. So all agents have a prima facie right to freedom and well-being, which means that you have a prima facie reason to not interfere with other people's freedom and well-being. So that's the universal reason that everybody would have.
Very good. And Gretchen, thank you for the 666 weighing in on podcast. Says, love you guys, but love you guys, but I don't think I could find room for another stream or podcast unless it was about politics. I'd make that work. LL. I agree. I think a lot of us too, we're getting more and more creators in the space. I think people are starting to like fill out their listening schedules. So adding another thing into the mix, it's a lot for some of the viewers for sure.
It does become competition, which, like competition is perhaps not a bad thing, but like we want people to be successful. And so you don't want to eat up like for example, I think that if any one of us started streaming 8 hours a day every day, I think that would be not only bad for other people, but I think that it would just like split communities, and that's probably not worth doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's I think we've kind of like finagled our way into this, but and not to like tilt our hand or whatever, but I do think there's like a good reason why typically we stream at different time segments And it's just because it's like it's better. It's like a win-win for us to do this as opposed to like viciously competing with each other for viewership.
Yep.
Agreed. Yep. All right, we're gonna grab Fro from Norway and hopefully have some discussions about God. Welcome in, Fro. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes and yes.
Awesome. In
Great.
which God do you believe in?
I believe in the biblical God. But I would like to ask, have you heard of the argument from longing brought up by C.S. Lewis?
I think so, yeah.
What do you think about that argument?
I think that it gets at something true. I just don't know why that thing would be God. I honestly, gosh, not to you've kind of fallen into my niche special interest here. But I think that there's a good I don't think psychoanalysis is like strictly true, but there is like a psychoanalyst who I think says a lot of things that are true, and his name is Jacques Lacan. He's a French psychoanalyst, um, and he posits that desire is something called the lack, and the lack, broadly understood, is just there's this thing that everybody imagines themselves obtaining, and then that's the thing that they desire more than anything else. And when we picture ourselves with the object of our desire, it's like a perfectly satisfying experience. In fact, so much so that we just no longer desire anything. Our desire is like fully satisfied. But that's an illusion. That's not real. There is no object that you could obtain that's going to get rid of your desire. You're always going to continue desiring new, greater things. But I just don't see why I would think that. Like, I agree that there's like something like that. There's like a thing that we're all striving for. That there's like a part of ourselves that is like missing, and we're all trying to like become like full by getting like the object that we desire. I agree with that. I just don't know why I would think that this is God. And I also know for sure that you can broadly satisfy the ambitions of your desires without positing a God. For example, I think the better thing to do is to just give yourself like a never-ending journey. So for me, I chose the pursuit of truth. Pursuing truth is something that I love doing. It's a novel experience every single day. And most importantly for this discussion, it's something that can never be achieved, which means that I'm never going to be disappointed because I'm always going to be working towards it.
So why would we have a longing for eternity or meaning and transcendence if nothing satisfied it?
So that's probably more of like a neurological question, or like an evolutionary neurology question. I think it's probably just a product of like the sophistication of human brains. That we have a desire to understand ourselves as social members who have lives that follow narrative structure. Also, I don't think everybody longs for eternity.
Do you think we all long for some kind of God, even if we don't really believe in it?
I think we all long for the lack. I don't think that we all long for God.
What
Except
would
me,
you
I don't
say?
long for anything.
What would you say is the difference between the lack and God, Ian?
I think that's a great question. So I think they're very different. I think so. God obviously would be like a mind that created the universe. In your view, it would be. I think the beatific vision is the thing that's promised to like quench our desires. But the lack is like a very it's a very malleable thing, and I think some people pursue as the object of their desire something that they can obtain, and others do not. I just think that the lack can take many different forms, and for some people they make God their lack, but for others they don't, and it seems perfectly coherent not to do that.
I think a little about because like if we look at natural desires that comprehends to something real. If you're hunger, you get food. If you are thirsty, you get water. If you have fatigue, you get sleep. What would you say is that spiritual component that we're looking for?
I'm not sure. I just think that I don't really know what it means to have like a spiritual desire. I'm not saying that nobody has this. Like clearly people do have spiritual desire or what they think is a spiritual desire. I think probably what it is more so is just some desire for like a coherent life trajectory, one where they
Is
can
it
achieve
is it
the
a
goals that they set out.
yeah? Is it a longing for meaning? You think?
I think probably, yeah.
Yeah. Something to explain everything, to set it in what you could call system.
Yeah, like something to propel us forward, to give us the motivation to strive for living and the actions that we take.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of C.S. Lewis. He is probably one of my favorite Christian people. Mere
I really
Christianity
liked
is.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, me too.
Mm,
Me too. I'm a huge fan of the Narnia books. Him and Tolkien was actually very good friends. If
Yeah,
you
and
didn't.
Tolkien was very non-religious, right?
Yes, it is kind of funny. They were very, very good friends, and he was anti-religious, so that's
I
kind of
mean, yeah,
interesting.
and let's be real, like which fiction has had a bigger influence on the world?
Oh,
Tolkien
definitely
or
Tolkien.
see? Well, then I guess that tells you just who wins. I guess atheism is true.
Because he sold more books. Well, if it
Yeah,
was
and
based
also
on
made good movies.
exactly, yeah, but if it was based on book sell, Christianity would be true because that
Wouldn't
is the most
wouldn't
sold book ever.
J.K. Rowling isn't J.K. Rowling competitive for that?
No, it's pretty
based.
far away.
Giga Chad.
Yeah,
True.
but yeah, no, I was thinking of some arguments that you haven't heard. What do you think of the argument from beauty? Not that we like pretty things, but beauty doesn't help survival much. We don't need sunset. We don't need music. We don't need poetry. But
So
humans are deeply wired to respond to beauty.
uh, it might actually be, and I'm speculating here, but
Hmm.
it seems like there is a sense of beauty that like humans find in the human form. And there's a sense of beauty that humans find in like plants and animals.
Hmm.
And I think that at least those kinds of beauty are explainable from a survival perspective. Namely, like, we find people who are beautiful, people who are probably reproductively successful, right?
Yeah.
They're able to spend excess resources, which shows that they're able to produce lots of resources and able to take care of offspring. Similarly, we find animals more beautiful when they're not, mottled with disease, which would make them
Yeah.
safer to eat. Similarly with plants, if you see a splotchy plant or a plant that looks ugly, it's probably less safe to eat than a plant that looks lush. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the sense of beauty that we have for non-survival based things like the sunset or like the stars, if that's just kind of like a hanger on from these other notions of beauty that are instrumental in our survival.
Yeah. I also think like a lot of the things that are called beauty with respect to things like the stars, I wonder if what that actually is like a curiosity as opposed to like an aesthetic appreciation. Although maybe it is an aesthetic appreciation, I'm not sure.
I think my thing is if the universe was just a survival mechanism, beauty would not be would be unnecessary. And if it's the opposite, it's just suggest intention rather than accident.
But I think what Blitz said is like a really good explanation. I'm not sure what the problem with that explanation would be.
Yeah, I have one last argument that I also would like to talk about. The argument from humor. This is, I don't know if you heard this, but why does humor exist? So jokes relies on timing, meaning, surprise, shared understanding, and pattern breaking. None of this are required for survival, yet laughter is one of the most universal human traits.
In fact,
Some,
laughter
yeah.
is present even in other mammals.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, quite a few animals have laughter, and like my cats play jokes on each other.
I also think that there's like a I think there is an evolutionary explanation for this actually. Jokes by their very nature are surprising, and the human brain, this is true. This is like the fundamental thing about like underlying like a good piece of writing at the sentence level, at the story level, at like every level. Humans love things that surprise them, but the surprise isn't out of nowhere. Like it immediately makes sense. Like something unexpected, but totally in line with what the setup was. The human brain goes crazy for that. So jokes
by
kind
the
of
way,
fall into that category.
and this is just something I just learned this. I just saw it. But apparently, some orangutans will literally laugh at magic tricks that humans do.
Really?
Like in the same way that humans will. That's really funny. So I mean like what is a joke? There's a surprise element.
Yep.
And then there's the immediately making sense element. There's the laughter part that comes after the joke, which is like a sort of shared experience. And so it seems like these are exactly the kinds of things that would be good for social bonding and good for, training our brain to make sense of things. Yeah, Justin, get rid of that.
Yep. Oh, they added a new.
I mean,
feature.
nobody can see it.
There's a new feature in Video Ninja now. You can block users.
Oh, really?
Excellent.
That's good.
I blocked him.
Not this guy, not the nice Norwegian guy.
No, not Fro. We wouldn't do it, Fro. Fro's nice. So, Fro, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that any of these things could lead to a god. Why would we pick the Christian god?
That is a very, very, very good question. I have read the Quran. I have read multiple of other religious texts, and I think for me it's the one that makes most sense. I can't explain it better than that, I guess, Justin.
So, is it possible that there's a god and it's not a god of any of these texts? So essentially, what we've done is
definitely.
Like here's these formalized gods. I'm going to pick the one that makes the most sense to me. But to me, I don't think any of them make sense. Like if there was a god, I would imagine that it wouldn't be a god of any of these books. Like it's really difficult for me to believe that the God of the Bible is real.
If we say that Alf behind you there is the god, I have no problem of saying that the God of the Bible could be untrue. I just think it fits, and I hate to admit this, but it fits best with my reality, I guess.
By the way, I just want to issue a correction. J.R.R. Tolkien was not an atheist. He was just a Roman Catholic, and he didn't like saying his prayers in English, etc., which was his disagreement with C.S. Lewis. I didn't want to spread misinformation.
I thought he was an atheist.
Apparently not.
Yeah. We've got, by the way, Christians in the TikTok comments that are that should be in the request box. I'm looking at you right now, Atheist Pounder. Please come pound us. It would be really interesting. Maybe we'll all end our careers today.
Yeah. So I hate to agree with Gary in the chat here, but he says Fro is most culturally exposed to Christianity, so it felt most comfortable to them. Yeah, I think that's I think that's not untrue.
And that's usually how it works. Well, listen, Fro, it was delightful getting to chat with you. You're a really nice guy, so a big W for being polite and honest. We appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Right.
And thank you for answering my question. And go C.S. Lewis.
Cheers.
Bye. Wow, we're getting a lot of really nice guys. A lot of
I hate it.
A lot of chill individuals.
It's a wild day.
I want Deathless Light to come up.
Yo, real.
Also,
Deathless
Apostle
Light, Darth Dawkins, maybe Battlelogical.
Have you
Apostle
seen the
Logic
debate
is-
between Deathless Light and Darth Dawkins?
Wait, there was a debate between them.
Genuinely legendary. Darth runs, of course.
That's
Darth
hilarious.
Dawkins strikes again.
Hold on, I gotta pull this up. What is it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Deathless Light versus Darth Dawkins.
No, I gotta
Please tell
look
me
it
it's
up.
on Rabbit's channel.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It might be on right here, right now.
Apostle
I'm not
Logic
seeing
in
it.
the comments. If you want to talk philosophy, today's your day, friend. I've talked to Apostle Logic twice, and I think our
Hey
last
Justin, can you
conversation.
get rid of that guy again?
Yeah, I've talked to Apostle Logic twice, and our last conversation ended quite well. But if you want to talk to someone that's more in line with philosophy, Ian is the person you want to talk to. But anyways, I'm going to grab a couple super chats, and then we'll get our next guest. I think we've got someone in the TikTok queue waiting to come in. Oppo says, funny how the Eastern Orthodox Trinitarian Nick is nowhere to be found when conveniently, conveniently when you have no guest requesting up, he'll remain in the comments complaining, and that seems to be the case. He was in my last
Yeah.
live stream crying but didn't come up. I wonder why that is. Oh well. Thriver Scapegoat says, I think you are three awesome white dudes. Well, thank you. Really appreciate that. And thanks for being here. Big W. House 70 coming in again says, I planted the podcast idea now. I feel like the devil. You're not a devil. Don't worry about that. It's just, people are allowed to have ideas. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. And Reverend Nate, thank you for the $10. Canadian chat says, we already chose to miss starts, ends to each of your shows. You overlap sometimes. Add Joven. Yeah, we like Joven. Trust but Verify, of course. Mezzo, Leaving Faith, Dalton, and Forrest, marathon shows. It's a lot, but thank you. There's so many good creators out there right now. It's exciting. I don't consider it to be like competition. I like that the field is filling out and everyone can find somebody that really is their flavor. Hey,
It definitely feels like, compared with 2 years ago, even there are a lot more people who are, actively involved and engaged and getting a decent. Like there were always people who were like doing these live streams on TikToks, but they would have like 10 people in them, 20 people in them. It seems like we're actually like getting a fairly large number of creators who are actually like putting in the effort and producing large audiences these days, which is good.
I didn't find many people doing the religious debates on TikTok when I started, and I think Thinker beat me to the punch by like 2 years. But other than Thinker and maybe
Parker and Dean used to do it too.
Yeah, they used to dabble in
before
religion.
2024.
Yeah.
Before 2024. They both did religious stuff, which is why Parker always Parker especially is actually fairly good at the debate argument, because he's a quick guy. But politics is probably both more important and also probably more lucrative, I imagine.
Yeah. Skits and Bits was doing it for a while too. Caden says 2 questions. What does quantum computing have to say about LEM, both on, off? Also, what's the rate for getting tased by Dr. Blitz? Oh, damn. Now you're charging.
The quantum computing, like in quantum computing, in quantum mechanics in general, it's just not true that on-off correspond to true-false, right? That's just not the case. There are multiple other states. There are superpositions of states. Now, the way we often think about classical computing is that like 1 is true and 0 is false or whatever, but that's like a convention. And, that convention doesn't have to hold up. It doesn't have to be in direct analog with the way that we do computing. You could have like a trivalent computing system where it's 1 is true, 0 is false, and -1 is unknown, for example. And that doesn't defeat or that doesn't contradict the law of the excluded middle. It's just a different like a different convention that you assign to your computational objects. And so in quantum computing, you just have a superposition, and so you have a lot more different kinds of objects than just 1 and 0, so you don't necessarily map them in correspondence with true and false. And as for the rate for getting tased, it's $800 a shock.
I thought it was free if you do the right things.
Well, yeah, but then it's just like self-defense. It's not.
Sure.
It's not consensual.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to bring in Jeremy Hudson from the YouTube queue. Also, Anthony Wayne in the TikTok queue. I know that it's Battlelogical. You're not that creative. You just have an alternative profile as Anthony Wayne, so we're not going to bring you up. But I will bring up Jeremy Hudson in just a second.
Could you imagine if Jeremy Hudson is the Battlelogical alt?
Oh, man. That'd be wild. Welcome
Bro,
in,
he would have
Jeremy.
gotten our asses.
Jeremy,
Hello,
are
can you
you?
guys hear me?
We can hear you. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes, I believe in God.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
Christianity.
Okay. What do you think is the best argument or the best evidence for God's existence? Preferably the God you believe in.
So personally, I believe because there's a lot of niggers and such.
Oh no.
Oh,
Them niggers. I hate.
what a really model Christian we have here. Like, just did everyone convert just now? Did that convert you? Was that the
I'm
thing?
actually more atheist now.
Yeah, that definitely hardened my atheism. Also, just saying bad words on YouTube doesn't get your stream taken down. I think you're quite confused about how this works. So, the only other guest in the box has one letter for a name, which is an N, which I'm assuming is the same person.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah. So we're just gonna cut them. All right, we'll read some super chats. I guess this live stream is turning into reading super chats, and we've defeated all theists apparently. Okay,
Theism is dead. Long live atheism.
good to know. You heard it here today. Theism's dead, y'all. Mike says Tolkien was a devout Catholic. That was my understanding. I thought Tolkien
Yep,
was a
I was
Catholic
wrong
as well.
I was wrong.
Okay.
Happens sometimes.
And might you find it interesting? Thank you for the super chat. It says, do you call yourselves atheist, anti-theist, or both? I call myself an atheist only because I'm not against, I'm not anti-theist. I'm not against God. I just don't believe that God exists. Y'all?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into anti-theism particularly deeply. It kind of feels like it's making a normative claim, like you ought not, people ought
Yeah, it
not
is.
do this. I just don't know if that's strictly true.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in college, which, dating myself was 10 years ago, I definitely did call myself an anti-theist, and this was the heyday of the new atheist stuff with Chris Hitchens and all of those, and I'm like, this is so dumb, and then while I was in college, okay, this was longer than 10 years ago because that was when I was a freshman. Then when I was in college, I met some totally normal and good religious people that I was quite friendly with and were good people, and their faith, was a part of their life. And I'm like, look, if it's good for you, it's you do you. It's just not for me.
Right. And Gretchen coming in again with another 666. Thank you so much, Gretchen. Says, talk about cognitive dissonance. Just heard Mezzo discussing Pascal's wager in one ear and Justin saying, compound us in the other. Fucking backwards.
Are you listening to two people simultaneously?
Dude, Gretchen don't play. You know she is.
That's crazy.
Yep. Just up here waiting for a Christian to take us to Pound Town. Poopman Jones. But we.
Oh, Blitz, I found the video, by the way. It's on
yeah.
it's on Monkey Boy's YouTube channel. It's his other name, Sacred Cruelty. I sent it to you.
Okay.
But did you put it in the Discord? One.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll
It's a
watch
short.
Yeah.
Wait, is it that short?
Yeah, it's because Darth Blockins runs the fuck away.
That. Yeah.
Oh, what a coward. So
Yeah.
sad.
That's what he did on my life.
Anyway, go
as
ahead.
Well. Poopman says, there is no branch of the wave function where Blitz doesn't tase me in a parking lot.
It's true because that's classically determined and not a quantum phenomenon.
Indeed. And Drago's thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, hey, Dr. Goat, Ian, and Justin. You have all helped me with deconstruction in different ways. I really enjoy the content and effort you all put into your work. Also, thank you for the book club, Ian.
Yeah, gosh, we had an excellent time at book club. We had a really fascinating discussion about the problem of Theseus, or sorry, not the problem of Theseus, the ship of Theseus. A lot of really interesting perspectives. I don't know, I didn't have like super high expectations for what was going to take place, but everybody was like so intelligent and made such good points. I'm really looking forward to the next book club, which is next week. It's still not too late to join. I would encourage everyone to join the book club. It's in my Discord, discord.gg/allegedlyian. We're reading Michael Humer's Knowledge, Reality, and Value, a mostly common sense guide to philosophy. It's an introductory philosophy book. We're reading, I think, the second section, which is titled, I think, Critical Thinking. So, if you want to do that, it's not too many pages. Honestly, you probably don't even need to read the first one to come to the second one if you missed it.
So
It's, I think it's 8 p.m. EST next Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
So Fliggle Giggle says you all need to come into Christ.
Oh boy.
Don't
Oh,
we
yeah?
need consent for that?
I don't know. The Romans didn't get consent when they nailed him.
The Romans aren't famous for consent, though.
True. Yeah, they don't believe in consent. Yeah, I think we do need consent. Unfortunately, I could be wrong here, but Jesus is nowhere to be found. That's why everyone's looking for him. Oh well. If he shows up, we'll have that conversation. Ben, thank you for the 6-hour super chat. Says, Justin, the 2026 years since what argument almost made me a Christian? Very powerful argument and justified dogma. Luckily, Sharon kept me rock hard. Yes. I released a response video yesterday, maybe. There's some goofball that thinks that Christianity is true because the year 2025 is supposed to be like 2025, the year of our Lord. It was a powerful argument. It nearly converted everybody on my channel, but we withstood the onslaught of logic and reasoning from this rhetorical titan.
Indeed.
The Bro Games says, I used the argument about causes and effects on my friend, and he said, we don't know for a fact that logic is true outside of the universe. I'm stumped. Thoughts? Well,
yeah, that's like a huge problem. If the position that this person is committed to is that, the laws of logic aren't true, like in a universal sense, then that just denies their existence.
Right.
The laws of logic are necessary in order for any state of affairs to obtain. Like if anything is true, it's going to be true. It's going to be in line with logic. There are no exceptions to that because logic is just the rules of valid inference. They're the rules wherein if the premises are true, then it necessitates that the conclusion is true. The universe could not exist and the laws of logic would still be true because they're what's necessary to have like coherent thoughts in the first place.
yeah.
Somebody just asked why we refused to debate Q-Top.
He blocked me.
He did. I
Yeah,
actually don't
I'm
know.
blocked
Maybe he
by
blocked
him.
me too.
I made
actually don't know.
a your mom joke, and then he blocked me. He won't debate me anymore.
Also, none
I
of
just
us
think he's
has
too cowardly to come up.
refused to debate Q-Top. In fact, I told him he's tried to come up on my live stream multiple times and said, listen, I'll debate you on one condition, which is that you have to announce publicly that it's not okay to marry children, and he won't do it. So until he changes his mind on pedophilia, we're not going to have a debate. That's just how that works. Jalen, hey, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, my understanding of the double slit is that once the matter is observed, you aren't finding out what superposition it is in. You are finding out which superposition you are in.
That's the many worlds interpretation, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate the question, though. The questions via super chat are a good way to fill no guest time now that we've defeated all the Christian guests and they're just crying in the comments rather than coming up. Eat Some Shorts. Thank you so much for the super chat. It says, I'd like to see Justin test how many times he can repeat Pound Town. Let me read that again. Pound Town. Hold on, maybe I didn't get it right. Pound Town before Blitz
was
and
that?
Ian break for good. I think it was Pound Town.
Gotcha.
Pretty sure it's Pound Town. Quite a few times it seems like a interesting proposition, though. Well, We either have a guest or a troll in the YouTube queue, so we
Let's
will
bring them
find
up.
out.
Let's see what they say.
Yeah. Welcome in, Das.
Yeah, hello. How's it going?
Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 19.
Awesome. And do you
Glad to
believe in
hear
God?
Pardon? What do you say?
Do you believe in God?
Yeah, I believe in God. Are you looking for someone that specifically believes in like the Christian God,
No.
or just like a
no.
deist?
And well,
If you're a deist, then Ian might get mad at you if you haven't read much, but like, you know, we'll still talk to you.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, let's
Yeah.
be
You're fine.
parsimonious. Like, how would we define it? Just like his conscious mind that like created the universe, or
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
fine.
totally fine. I think theism broadly understood is just like some sort of like ultimate metaphysical causal foundation that's personal.
Right. So like, how would you interpret like niggerism and like the amount of niggers and nigger, have your
Yeah,
IP Ian, nigger,
course.
nigger.
You actually don't have my IP. I have a VPN, stupid fuck.
yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have my
We
IP.
all do.
Also, that's not actually how IPs work. The best you can ever do is get the IP address of the internet provider. You'll never get the IP address of our individual PCs. That's telling me you don't understand how IPs work, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I almost wrote that down in my 2-clip journal, but I guess we won't be clipping that because it's not a real guest. But okay.
True. Well, I see Mom Life in the comment section. Hey, I'd love to talk to you. I mean, yeah, last time I kicked you after you admitted to using ChatGPT, but if you want to come on and have a good faith conversation about things, I'd love to talk
Is
to
this
you.
the person from, are they on YouTube or are they on TikTok?
No, they're on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's just invite him up then.
Yep. I don't think she's gonna come
Sent
up,
an invite. Let's see.
but we'll see.
Okay.
She
Well,
may be
we'll grab
busy.
our next guest, which is Mimi. Mimi, welcome in. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Oh, Mom Life is here.
Oh,
That was fast. I guess we'll
Yeah.
pause
Yeah,
on
what's
Mimi.
up, you guys? I've never talked to Blitz, but I like his lives. I've been on
Well,
Justin.
I'm glad you do.
He kind of I didn't do very well with Justin. I wasn't quite prepared, and yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
to
no,
be
I'm just
fair-
I wasn't gonna debate right now. Honestly, I'm sleeping in and I'm just getting up, so I'm kind of.
totally
But you
good.
guys wanted me to come up. I
feel
I
that.
was just curious what your thoughts were on consciousness. What your take on it is.
I'm generally pretty agnostic on the issue. I lean towards some kind of physicalism, if it can be properly defined. And so my take is that like consciousness is probably something that arises from the brain. But this is the realm of like neuroscience and psychiatry and things like this. So I'm going to be, and maybe philosophy. So I'm going to be pretty agnostic about it. If you present a good argument, I'll be like, okay.
I mean, I don't think it's physical. So I mean, it's just
Right, but
we
is
would
there
just
like
go
an
back
argument
and
against
forth,
that?
but of it being physical.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it can't be emergent from something that it's not reducible. So consciousness is irreducible. So how could it be?
Well, the whole
What-
point of
what is it
emergence is
reduced
that it
to?
produces irreducible things. That's what emergence does.
Well, so if it's produced by the brain, then it would have to reduce to a component that is physical, and it doesn't. So
I mean, not really. So like, look, wetness isn't reducible, but
Well,
like the property of wetness, like there's no such thing as a wetness molecule, right? But if you
No, but
put,
wetness is
put a bunch of
reducible
H2O
to
molecules
H2O.
together, then you get something that has wetness. And so the,
let's do the
the
same-
wetness concept is irreducible, and yet it emerges from something simpler.
okay, so do the same thing with consciousness. What's it reduced to?
The point is it's not it's composed of something smaller, perhaps like neurons firing in various ways or whatever, but it gives
Well,
rise
perhaps,
to a
but what neurons?
yeah, right.
Find
I
it.
mean, like
Tell
that's
me.
the proposition anyway. But the point
But
is
if
it doesn't
you-
have to be reducible to a conscious particle in order for it to
Well,
arise from in order to for it
but
to arise from particles.
But it does have to be reducible to something that is in the brain, and it's not.
Well, yeah. So it would be so in this case it would be like composed
Science
of like
would
a
find
complex
it.
arrangement of neurons and stuff.
Well, then we would be able to discover that, and we haven't. Correct?
what do you mean would be able to discover it? What kind of
Well,
discovery would that look like if that were the case?
Well, we would know which neurons are firing that's producing consciousness. We would understand how that breaks down, just like we do with H2O.
So look, H2O, wetness isn't there is a specific H2O molecule that makes it wet. It's all of the H2O molecules together that makes it wet. Similarly, we could expect that consciousness
hydrogen.
is all of the neurons, all of the interactions, all of the firings together gives rise to this phenomenon of consciousness.
So that's your take. That's your belief on it.
I mean that that seems plausible at least. Like we know that complex dynamics can arise from like fairly simple arrangements of stuff. And so the brain being in a very complicated arrangement of stuff, it's totally plausible that you can have very, very complicated things that we don't understand fully.
It
at least seems plausible is what I'm saying.
So you believe that it's plausible for complexity to produce consciousness?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then quantum computing can become conscious. A quantum computer can become conscious if it gets.
I mean, you don't even need quantum computing. It's plausible that even classical computing could give rise to a conscious experience.
I agree.
Has it?
I mean, that's hard to say. It's really hard to evaluate whether something has conscious experience, but I would lean towards no.
So theism has a better argument for consciousness than does atheism, because atheism is using tools that can't even explain consciousness. And you need consciousness, obviously, to even argue to begin with.
I mean, if you're saying that theism, like classical theism, better explains why we have consciousness, perhaps because, God has some sort of desire or something like that, but it doesn't explain how we have consciousness. And that's the issue that like a physicalist runs into as well. A physicalist has a hard time explaining how we have consciousness in the same way.
Yeah, but it's not, no, because theism, like what we say God is basically like the consciousness.
Right, but that doesn't
just
explain
like
how
posit
we have
consciousness is like
consciousness.
fundamental?
It does. But like you could do that. But even still, that doesn't explain how we have consciousness, right?
That seems like a move that's like super open to the atheist as well. Like it's unclear at that point why an atheist couldn't just say, well, I think consciousness is fundamental, be like a panpsychist or something.
Well, I don't think that fits, but so anyways, yeah, that's
how do you think that we have consciousness? How do you think that we get it?
Well, I think it's given to us. So I think it's
Well, but that's not really an answer. What is it like what is consciousness to be given? Right? It's not like it's like I could hand you like a bucket of water. Can I hand you a bucket of consciousness?
Well, so consciousness, in order to even experience consciousness, you have to have, you have to have like what I guess what I would say, from the theist point of view, you have to have a mind body before you can even.
Well, I mean, the mind is the thing that has consciousness. So like we're talking about mind to begin with.
Also,
so, like,
that's not
why
true. God doesn't have a body.
Well, yeah, that too. Well, I mean, maybe Jesus, right? But doesn't have a body anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look,
I don't
maybe
know.
the point that I'm getting at is that like you can say that God has consciousness. Maybe God is just like consciousness embodied or whatever. But then you need to explain how it is that God gave us consciousness. Because that's what you're asking me to do. You're asking me to explain how is it that consciousness came about in humans under a physicalist worldview. So I would just ask you the same question. How is it that consciousness came about in humans in a non-physicalist worldview? And I don't want some just vagary of like, oh, God gave it to us, because that doesn't actually answer the question. I could just say, oh, our neurons gave it to us, right? Like you actually have to give me a mechanism. And so I think that we're kind of just both on the same page here. Like neither of us have a mechanism for how consciousness arises in humans.
I haven't thought about it. So let me. I don't know. I mean, so from a theistic point of view, it's okay. I mean, consciousness would have to be then eternal. It would have to have all the properties of who God is, right? So when he says that he breathed into man and man became a living being, that is that is what that's when man became conscious, I would think.
But what does it mean to like breathe consciousness into something? How does that work? Like what, like how does it go from like being this like ethereal thing that's a part of God to living in the brain, or like interacting with the brain in an explicit way and being localized in space and time? Like these are all of the questions that you'd like to ask me, and it seems like that the theist just doesn't have an answer to them either.
So then, let me think. So, but here's the thing: what you're saying is, okay, you have physical, and then we're calling consciousness a non-physical thing, right? So you're saying my perspective is that something that is non-physical is interacting with something that was physical. How is that possible? Is what you're saying. So I'm just trying to grasp my head around the question. So you're saying, okay,
yeah, like
if it's not physical, if it's not a physical, yeah, if it's not a physical property, then there's some mechanism that allows for physical to interact with non-physical. And what is that, basically?
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I'm understanding it.
That's like at least like a core part of it.
Okay. Now I got to think about that.
And I mean, for what it's worth, like it may be the case that like a physical explanation doesn't answer the question in full, but at least a physical explanation accounts for why consciousness seems to be localized in space, localized in time, why it seems to be intimately tied with the brain, because if it arises from the brain, then of course it's going to be tied to the brain in that way. Whereas it's not clear, like if you have some non-physical thing, how does it become tied to the brain in the way that it is?
I'm trying to think of it from like a theistic perspective, right? So using something within theism that's gonna like, and so if we're created by a conscious God who, I mean, I guess I'm trying to think about it in terms of if we're created by a God that is conscious who.
I mean, and here's the issue. The theist doesn't have an explanation because the people who are writing these books and explicating on, on the nature of God they didn't have the answers either. They just assumed that there was an explanation, and whatever that explanation or whatever that mechanism was, God just did that, and that's how it worked. But they didn't actually have an answer. So you're not going to find an answer in the Bible. You're not going to find an answer in, the Christian patriarchs or whatever. You're not going to find an answer there.
I've never read any of those books. I don't know. I've actually never read any books on any of that, but well, that's fair. I think, but I think if you're, when a lot of atheists are saying that, it's illogical to believe in a God, it's really not, because atheism and theism are going to come to the same perspective, so to speak. Just like what you said, we don't have an explanation for the mechanism that puts the two together, but you guys also don't have a mechanism for why consciousness exists at all.
Yeah, so at best, that should lead you to agnosticism, and then you should go consider other arguments. Because if neither position can provide a satisfactory answer, then it just doesn't do anything, and then you should just go look at other arguments, and then you can find that perhaps it's not rational to be a theist, or perhaps it's not rational to be an atheist based on other arguments.
I will look into that for sure. But
yeah, sounds good.
Anyways, I don't have anything else to debate, but I appreciate it. And,
thanks for coming up.
Thanks for coming up, Mom Mike.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. We'll talk with you guys later.
Cheers.
Take care.
So I talked to
even
Mom
the
Life.
typically rowdy people are chill today. What the hell is
I was
going
gonna say,
on
you guys gave me like an impression of her that she was gonna be like a nutso, but like
No,
she was totally normal.
She's not nutso. She does get excited and sometimes aggressive. That was how our conversation went. But I was gonna tell her when she was up here, she actually has read way more of the Bible than most Christians. Most Christians haven't cracked this book open at all. So
yeah, like she's like clearly that's my impression too. Like there's like, the three of us have encountered a lot of idiots. I don't think that I'd classify her in that category.
No, definitely not. Duke says, I don't need me a superstition. I will use all position.
Superposition.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I misread that.
When are you gonna get those glasses?
You know what? I
Holy
I-
shit.
I actually went to the eye doctor and my vision is still perfect. The problem
Beg to differ.
the problem is my screen is so far away from my face that either I have to come in here and do this, or I need a magnifying glass. Maybe I'll get a magnifying glass. Or I could put my screen closer to my face, but then my cats have nowhere to lay on my desk. I mean, come on. We got to think about the cats, right? Waffle says, oh, think about these. Oh. Think about Cheezo. What? Think about Cheezo? Is that a song?
I don't know what. I have no idea.
Ooh, think about cheese. Ooh.
I do love cheese. Thanks for reminding me that cheese exists.
I don't know
Yeah,
what the I'm not too sure what the joke is, but I think that's how it was meant to be read.
I think so
you're
too.
right.
There was a little ghosty emoji at the end.
Yeah, but double cheese. Waffle says, now that I've gotten that out of the way, can someone explain question begging so that I don't feel like such a dummy each time I hear that term?
So
It's the fancy term for making a circular argument.
yeah, well,
That's what I
circular
thought.
arguments are a subcategory of question begging. So question begging is just when the thing in question, like a conclusion on the thing in question, is getting presupposed in something. So a circular argument is an example of this. That's when the thing in question gets presupposed within a premise. So for example, like, God exists because the Bible is true because God wrote it. That's circular. And it's like question begging. But another form of question begging would be like, when did you stop beating your wife? You're kind of like, within the question itself, you're begging the question on whether or not this person is beating their wife. You're presupposing that they are. So that's my understanding of question begging.
Yeah. But you do want to know that's a basic. You do want to know what that one means. That's going to come up a lot in debate. Eris says, Justin, can you explain the story and reason behind the idea why some Christians believe that Eve was made from the missing human pee-pee bone that we never had and not a rib bone? Yeah, this is actually a fun one. So there was a published article, maybe 2012, now that I think back of it, that posited that because of the word, I believe in Hebrew it was zilah, because it's kind of an ill-defined word, we don't see a lot of it, but it does often refer to something that is like a lateral side piece. The author, by the way, in Biblical Archaeology Review, when this was published, they retracted it. That's how, like, it was reviewed and people were like, this is a bad argument. So the argument is like, hey, listen, if you're looking at the human being from the side, then it would be a side lateral piece, right? Rib. So they're saying, just like if you look at the boat the right way, you've got the side ribbing. If you look at the side of a human, you've got a side rib. And so the argument also goes back to the Akkadian language. They make an argument that, listen, in the Akkadian language, which is cognative Hebrew, it can be used in this particular method. And so this is kind of the root of the argument. The problem why the argument fails is because in the text, we find it in the plural, one of his such and such, right? Which means there must be more than one of them, which means the
Hear me
argument
out.
fails. Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. Klingons have 2 penises.
Oh boy. Okay. Well,
Have you read Genesis in the original Klingon?
It turns
Maybe it makes sense.
It turns out that maybe as long as Adam and Eve were Klingons, it actually it could work. So yeah, the root word, I pulled up an article I wrote on this like 10 years ago. The root word was zelah, and the case that it's a rib goes back to Akkadian. It's not based actually in Hebrew. And I think the article was published, give me a second so you can search for it, because I had to preserve a copy of it on my website. It was Biblical Archaeology Review, I think, volume 41. So I think that's where you can find the argument for it. But it's just not a great argument. That's why it was retracted. But it's a funny one. It's a hilarious thing to think about. Will says wetness also isn't a real sense. It's a combo of temperature, pressure, and texture. We relate to wetness, so the concept arises from combining aspects on both sides. I mean,
yeah, so just to be clear, I wasn't
fair.
referring to our sense of wetness. I was referring to like the conceptual idea of wetness, like the emergent property of wetness. Like things can be wet, things can be dry. And that is a property of many H2O molecules rather than a property of a single one.
Yeah, yep. Thriver says most of us are numb to that word. Keep pushing on, and thank you, Justin, Dr. Blitz, and Ian for all you do. Well, thank you, Thriver. Really appreciate it. And I assume you're referring to the goofball. They come up here shouting horrible stuff rather than defending their weird God concept. Sorry you had to listen to that, by the way. And Simeon says, I find the Trinity illogical, but I don't have the background in philosophy to be able to steel man their position. Is there a good way for a layperson to argue against it? So there's not, by the way. I mean, against the Trinity? Oh, there is. Yeah. There's not a good argument for the Trinity. It's just illogical. But I've actually got a series of arguments and syllogisms against the Trinity. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 8 of them now on my deconstruction cheat sheet, just for the Trinity. There's a whole tab dedicated to it. So, but like,
have you ever seen Danny's document, like his anti-Trinity document?
No.
He has an anti-Trinity document?
Yeah, he does.
And he hasn't shared it with me?
Yeah, he goes through all of the different models of the Trinity, and then he demonstrates why they're all gibberish.
I'll have to ask him for the anti-Trinity document.
They're either all gibberish or they reduce into a heresy. And so that's the bind that people get themselves in. My favorite syllogism for the Trinity not being true, which I've never heard anyone give yet, but I'm sure I'm not the inventor of it. I just came upon it when reading the Bible. It just made sense. So premise number 1, 1 John 4:12 says no one has ever seen God. Premise 2, people have seen Jesus, therefore Jesus isn't God. There you go. Done. And G3 Rain says if consciousness is non-physical, you have to solve the interaction problem.
Yep, that's what I was getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Deep Bluesy says bow tie French fry. Yeah, perhaps.
Okay.
Is that a line from something we should know?
I don't know. We have some guests though.
This person super chats it a lot.
Oh.
Huh. Okay. Well, let's grab our next guest, and we'll read some more super chats after that. We had Mimi in here a second ago, and we had to pause for Mom Life. So let me bring in Mimi. At least I'm going to try to. When I try to bring in Mimi, they don't actually appear. Give me 1 second to see why that is. I think it's because I've got them YouTube turned off. Maybe. Mimi, are you with us? Can you hear us? I don't know if you're fully connected. Mimi, you might have to refresh your browser. I don't know if Mimi's actually loaded up properly. Mimi? Okay. Well, I'm gonna hang up on Mimi. Mimi, if you're still with us, come on back. We'll pull you. Oh, Mimi did reload, and now they're back. Okay. Try this again. There we go. Now it's working. Welcome in, Mimi. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yes, I believe in God.
Awesome. And which God do you believe in?
Sorry, what did he say?
Which God do you believe in?
I believe in Islam. Allah.
Gotcha. And what do you think is the best argument or the most convincing evidence for God?
So, I mean, look, if you think about it this way, look, who created the universe? You think the Big Bang, right?
No.
So what do you think?
I don't think the universe was created. I think the universe is eternal. Would there be a good argument that would convince us that the universe was created rather than eternal?
Yes. Okay. So you know Mike Brigandy, he's a nigger.
Wow, so impressive.
Yeah, I would.
Titan.
But also, why Mike Brigandy?
Well, that's what they were. Remember the one time when we got trolled, Blitz, you and I?
Yeah, I know, but
what they
why?
were yelling about.
Why Mike Brigandy though?
I don't know. I think
I have a.
They probably just come out of the community. I out of his community.
Yeah, I suspect they debated Mike and got their asses roasted, and now they're forever just upset about it, which, you know, what are you going to do?
Checks out.
Okay. Locke, thank you for the super chat. Says, do I thank Doug, the Morton Salt Girl, or the Lava Lamp for my new contacts? Also, I keep accidentally poking my face trying to adjust my glasses. Well, listen, it's a trinity. You could thank all three of them, or your favorite one. It's up to you, friend. Ellie, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, apropos nothing. I hate when people say water can't be wet. Wet means coated in water. No, try again. If I douse you in 100% ethanol, you will absolutely feel wet. Thanks for streaming. Interesting. I mean, yeah, but you don't have to have water for wetness. I mean, anything. Well, hold on. I mean, yeah, there's lots of liquids that are not made of H2O. So, like, theoretically, wetness is a sensory perception, not necessarily tied specifically to H2O. But that's fine. Terminus says, is religion an evolved behavior from ancient tribal hominids with genetics and brain structure? These are very dispersed and can't be identified with current technology. Thanks. I think so. So I think that our ideas from God probably evolved from like animism and like our evolutionary sense that there is like we have to be on guard for something out there that you can't see. And also it's just true that the earliest forms of like theism was like they looked at these moving objects in the sky and they're like, well, I mean, they must be alive. They're moving, right? So they just attributed agency and characteristics to these things. And eventually they were gods. They were not just moving and working agents. They were like actual gods, and that's how we got to gods. And then it wasn't until we got to a much different point in history where we're like, well, if there's a god, here's how we should be thinking of it based on the these philosophical principles. So let's get Chris from the YouTube queue, and hopefully we'll get some discussion going here.
Chris.
Welcome in, Chris. Are you at least
Yes.
18 and do you believe in God?
Yes, I'm 18. No, I don't believe in God, but I need your guys' help with something.
Okay.
Okay. My girlfriend believes water is God, and I'm kind of too stupid to debate her, and
Don't
I
debate
know-
your
I know
girlfriend.
water.
Just don't do
debate
that.
your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Just don't. That's well. It seems crazy to me, but she makes a lot of like logical, I guess, arguments in the fact like the Bible was misinterpreted. So when they say God is omnipotent and omniscient, what they're referring to is a misinterpretation of God because water is like everywhere and all around us, and they were trying to describe God before water had like a name. That's her claim. Some crazy stuff like that.
If that's what they're trying to do, then why does God have pronouns? Like, why does he have like, like personal pronouns like he?
Okay. Maybe. Yeah, see, that's a good argument. Why would they give gender to an object? I like that.
Also, like the
But,
idea that like these people must be like not just stupid, but like profoundly stupid to misunderstand like water. Like if the authors of the Bible mean water, then they're the single worst communicators to ever exist.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
They had a word for water, by the way.
Okay. I'm curious.
Well, Mayim.
They had a word.
Yeah, like there was a Hebrew word for water, mayim.
So
Mine. Okay.
don't ask her about the Bible. Ask her to say, what is the evidence that water is sentient and is an agent? And I think that's where things will pretty much fall apart.
Ooh, okay, so I have kind of asked this, but not in those words. She thinks that it has a sentience because, like, people have taken photographs with, like, ice crystals. Have you seen this? Do you know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah, that's like 100% made up. Like there's
Oh,
no like
really?
actual scientific evidence that this is real.
Okay, so it's just people interpreting ice crystals into pictures with their
No, what it
imagination.
is so it's actually not clear. This comes from two people. There's a man named Masaru Emoto. He was one of the people that started this whole thing, and he has a Wikipedia page, by the way. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, water has memory and it can take on shapes and like the whole photographs thing." And then there's this woman whose name I don't remember, but it has a V in it. And she made a whole website and she's selling stuff. And like neither of them are scientists. There's no published research on this. This is just like a thing that they claim is true, and they're going to try to. Well, Masaru Emoto, I think is. I don't know if he's still alive, but the woman is trying to sell you like a course to learn how to, you know, reconstruct water's memory, and like it's a scam and it's made up.
Thank you. Okay. That see, because she heard that idea and latched onto it, and it makes me feel better that it doesn't even come from scientific evidence.
Also,
Okay.
you might want to ask whether or not she thinks God is good, because it'd be weird that literally your every living entity, not we'll say every land dwelling entity, when introduced to God, would drown and die, except for some reason like water living entities. So does that mean like God loves fish more than humans? Like, what a weird.
By the way, the person's name is Veda Austin. If your girlfriend is talking about Veda Austin as this this water stuff, just ask like where are the scientific publications, because there aren't any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Justin. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, that's all. I'm just saying, like, it's a weird thing. Like, if water is God, why does water choose to drown human beings and other land mammals?
Interesting. Yeah, because it won't drown fish. You're right.
Right.
That's interesting. Why would God show favoritism? But I don't think it's like God can't show favoritism because it is what it is, and it's that way because it's always been that way. I don't see. I'm not smart enough to debate with her about this.
Well, send her to us. We'll more than happy to have that discussion.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for your time.
Thanks for coming to Chris. That was interesting.
You guys have a good one.
Cheers. You have a good one.
Thanks
too.
for being here.
Well, that was unique, at least, for sure, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard water is God yet.
Definitely.
Apple says,
I think I'd crash the fuck out if I did though.
dude, that's something else. Apple says, I've been seeing some Christians try to say that the Septuagint is more accurate than the Masoretic text because the Masoretic text was compiled after. Well, it wasn't, actually. In fact, if you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are older than our Greek manuscripts, the Dead Sea Scrolls match the Masoretic text about 65% of the time, whereas our Dead Sea Scrolls that are in line with the Septuagint are only about 5%. That calculation was put together by a guy named Lawrence Schiffman, who is a scholar who studies the Dead Sea Scrolls. That being said, also...
Yeah, but he was Jewish, probably.
I think he was. In fact, I know he was.
So obviously he's biased, and they're just trying to shut down Christianity.
True. That must be it. But also, the if they wanted to say that the LXX is to be preferred, they just got rid of a whole bunch of prophecies that they really want. They got rid of the Isaiah 9 prophecy. They've got the lineages and numbers are all different now. Some of them lead to absurdities. So there's a bunch of errors in the LXX. Also, it's just demonstrably true that it didn't come first. Because we've got Hebrew word plays that only work if Hebrew was the original text. So, for example, like it says that Eve will be called Isha, which means woman, because she came from Ish, which means man. So we have woman and man. They're similar base root words. Same thing in Hebrew. We get Ish and Isha. But that doesn't exist in Greek. You don't have a single word in Greek that can just be slightly modified in the grammar to mean woman. It's a completely different word. So there's no good reason to believe that the Greek is more accurate or that it came first. It's just utter nonsense, which is why scholars don't believe it. And Dr. Joe, thank you for the super chat, says, fun fact, Tolkien's creative muse was his childhood and early adult trauma. His body of work emerged as a manifestation of post-traumatic growth. Yeah, I would buy that, actually. That makes total sense. Good to see you, Dr. Joe, by the way. Hope you're doing well. Malin says, what happened to Christianity between the Old Testament and today that they don't have polygamy anymore? Oh, nothing really happened. Society changed, and they got rid of it. And to be sure, polygamy used to be, I'm not going to say it was necessary or good. I would say it made more sense in the Bronze Age because a lot of men died in war. So this was the problem that we had is for even in the Bible, we see in 2 Samuel, I believe 11 or 12, it says that it was springtime, the time where men come out to war. Basically, this idea that every year, wherever you lived, it's wartime. You're going to go out to war. And even the Assyrian army had a practice where every year you go to war. So men were just dying all over the place. So if you were going to marry and have families, a lot of times, in order for every woman to have a husband, you had to marry someone who already had a wife. And so for them, it was just kind of a numbers game in a world that was bloody and difficult to live in. And then as society progressed, where we weren't constantly always at war and the population demographic was more even, well, it naturally just kind of, people were like, well, this seems kind of silly to do this anymore, except for people that just really wanted to have multiple wives, like Joseph Smith. So that's kind of what changed. The Bible didn't change, culture changed. Bill Frangler says Jesus didn't resurrect. Someone hit him with a Bronze Age Narcan. That's actually a very fair point. The swoon theory is a good theory, by the way. And Rachist, thank you for the super chat. It says, Justin, where is the best place to start or approach my parents who have been Christian 50 plus years? When I approach the topic of God isn't real, they railroad me and I shut down. Have the cheat sheet and love it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Rach. So here's what I would start. First of all, you don't have to deconvert your friends and family. Like I don't talk about this stuff with my friends and family, and they know my position, right? It's not my goal to deconvert my family unless like they're being toxic. If they're using religion to hurt people, then I'd be like, well, let's go take care of this. So if your parents are nice and they're not toxic, like you don't have to approach the topic with them. That being said, if they're bringing it up to you, I think the best place the one thing you need to do in order to have the conversation is first you need to know that Bible better than they do. I guarantee they don't know the Bible. If you want just one simple, powerful argument against Christianity, I would use some of the arguments against the Trinity. Once the Trinity falls apart, Christianity just isn't true anymore. So if you can just learn some good arguments against the Trinity or come see me, I'll give you some, then Christianity is over. It's done. The other argument that's longer but better, I think, is just showing that Jesus didn't fulfill any messianic prophecies. And if Jesus isn't the Messiah, Christianity is not true and it's all over. So that's what I would do. Good luck, though. Let me know if you need any help. All right, let's get our next guest in here. Is it Yanni, Johnny, Janny? We'll find out.
It's Johnny. Oh, Yanni, exactly. Like my full
yeah,
name
how
is
you
Yanni,
doing, Johnny? Johnny, are you at least 18
I'm
and
doing
do you
very
believe in
good.
God?
Yeah, I'm 24, and I believe
Awesome.
in like a person of God, kind of a creator of the universe.
Okay, but not a specific one, just a generic God?
Yeah, I believe everyone has their own God in that kind of sense, or should
So
have their
then,
own God in that kind of sense, at least.
are you suggesting that there's
Right
more
now.
than one God and that your God is specific to you and other people have other gods that are specific to them?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so you're like a polytheist. All right. Also, if you can get a little bit closer to a microphone, I think that would help. You're a little bit quiet. So we just want to make sure we can hear what you have to say.
I can
'Cause it kind of
try
sounds
to
like you're
go
underwater.
somewhere else, but I don't think it will get any better.
Okay. But either way, I turned your
say.
I turned your microphone up. Maybe it'll help. But so let's just start from the beginning. What do you think is a good piece of evidence or a good argument for your God or any God existing?
I mean, the explanations, the other explanations for the universe being the universe, I think they're kind of nonsensical.
Oh,
I
you're
maybe because
breaking
I
up
don't
really
understand them,
bad,
but I think
Johnny.
the creator is like,
Sorry, Johnny, you're breaking
give
up
me
really
some.
bad. We couldn't hear a lot of that. Okay. Johnny got a bad connection apparently. Sorry, Johnny. I guess we'll find some Wi-Fi and we can try again. Okay. Well, I think next in line was I think Kai. He or Kai? I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Key.
Welcome in, Key. Are you at least 18?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you believe in God?
No, I don't. I'm an atheist.
Oh, well, congratulations. All right, and we're on to the next one. Looks like Postman. Oh, Postman dropped. Okay. All right, we'll get the sovereign ruler and leader.
Oh,
Welcome in,
Postman.
Home.
Hello,
Home?
lads. You all right?
How you doing? Are you at least
Yeah.
18?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm 39.
Awesome. And do you believe in God?
I actually, what I have to say is so long-winded, and I don't think we can get to the bottom of it right now. Is there anywhere that I can publish something that you can attempt to debunk?
I think the
in
question
your free
that we need an
time?
answer to right now is whether or not you believe in God. 'Cause if
Okay.
you don't believe in God, we're not really
Okay.
interested in continuing the conversation.
Okay, without being a massive egoistic person, I'm an atheist that believes that I found the only legitimate way to.
Okay. All right, and we'll move on to the next one.
I wanted to know what he found the only legitimate way for.
The theory of everything, I'm sure, right?
That's my guess too.
Yeah. Welcome in, Corpus Christi. Are you at least 18, and are you a believer? Corpus? Did you get up here by accident, Corpus? Did you butt dial?
Probably.
Okay. Well, we'll take care of that. I'll grab a couple of super chats. We'll get a guest in here. We got some people waiting in the YouTube queue. Maybe some of them are not trolls. We'll find out. Docs says, I feel old. Why do I recognize the salt icon? Shake my head. Well, because it's on every container of Morton salt. That's why. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that it's old. It's still on. I've got a salt container today with the Morton Salt Girl on it. So don't worry
Yeah.
about that.
Morton
Boogit
Salt
says,
Girl loves you.
yeah, absolutely.
Stay
Boogit says,
iodized.
male iguanas have two wieners too. Actually, I didn't know that, but I do know some snakes, I think, have two, possibly two peni.
So it's called a hemipene, by the way, and it
Okay.
sounds like you're telling me that we need to read the read Genesis in the original. What was it called? The language that they speak in Harry Potter. That's snake language.
Oh, I don't know.
What's it called? I'm losing so much nerd cred.
Don't chat GPT it.
Parcel tongue. That's what it's called.
Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't know that. You know, I respect trans people.
Apparently, when I was like 8 years old, I didn't respect trans people.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
You know me.
Gargoyle says, this M is a is M a Klingon? Sometimes I swear, just maybe. I mean, do you mean M's? Like our friend M's? Is that person a Klingon?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he's a Klingon. I guess maybe Gargoyle, put down an argument for why you think he's a Klingon. We'll address it. Raven says, Bible says God is not a man. Jesus is a man, therefore Jesus is not God. I know. So, you know, I've ran this argument before, and I think the problem that you come up with is Christians will say, well, it's not literal. It's not literally saying that God's not a man. It's saying God's not like a man, right? They go into words don't mean words. And I get it. They kind of do that with every argument. But this is one of those arguments where the reason why I don't bring it up is because specifically there is a passage in the Hebrew Bible where God says, or somebody says of God, Yahweh is a man of war. And I think that's the problem that you'll run up with is even though it's a contradiction, either God is not a man or God is a man. And God says both, I am a man of war, and also says I am not a man. The reality is they're going to go to the other one and say, well, God says he's a man of war, therefore he could be Jesus. So it's a weird thing, but you can cook them. If they do that, you can cook them on the biblical contradiction. Waffle Thief says, I realized that I've accidentally been exclusionary to the Lacoste intolerant.
This guy,
That says
lactose.
lactose.
Oh,
Brutal.
Sorry.
This is brutal.
I read a T in there, like the name brand, Lacoste.
There is a T in there.
Do not let this man
No.
behind the wheel of a car.
After the S.
We need your keys, Gramps.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna upgrade to self-driving technology and just or do a robo-taxi. It says, ooh, think about granola. Ooh, may Doug have mercy on my kneecaps. I still don't understand what ooh is. What are we doing with the ooh?
Like a ghost.
It's what ghosts say. Ooh.
There's obviously some joke happening here that is way above my.
That's just what ghosts say.
I think it's just spooky.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be?
You've never heard a ghost say ooh?
Yeah, I guess I don't understand why there's a ghost in the middle of the super chat.
Who knows?
I'm confused. I'm
also confused about that.
I'm a confused old man here. Marty says, do you guys have 2 bladders? 3, I'm pretty sure. 3 bladders.
No, Klingons.
No, I think it's about us.
I think, yeah. It says you guys. Do you guys have 2 bladders? Now, you could theoretically, I think this is a comment because we were talking about the dual peni theory. If you have dual peni, you might have dual bladders. But the way you worded it is like a question, do we personally have 2 bladders? And I've got 1. I'm assuming Ian and Blitz have their own.
Actually, Ian and I share a bladder.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 between us. It's like a long. It's like over Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi bladder is crazy. Kane says, did y'all see the guy getting water balloons?
No, I don't know.
I don't know what
this
that
is
means.
referring to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kane. I don't even know what it means.
I have no fucking clue. Is this like some Charlie and the Chocolate Factory shit? There's like a person getting like inflated. Like,
who knows?
Yeah. And this appears to be a typo. I don't know what it means to get.
Oh,
balloons.
wait,
Oh, it was a protest thing.
Yeah, sure.
Haven't seen it. Nope.
Somebody got water ballooned in a protest?
I can only take so much fascism.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. When my son was born, I kind of stopped paying attention to the news because it was too depressing and I didn't have time to keep up with it. And I haven't looked back. I don't regret it at all. I still don't pay attention to the news.
Like, it's a good move for your own mental health. I'm just afraid that if everybody does that, then the people who care are the people who win, and that makes me sad.
Yep.
Right. It was kind of necessary for me because my schedule was overloaded. But
yeah,
like,
sure.
Man, did my mental health improve after that.
Yeah, when I was living in Europe, I kind of tuned out American news, and I didn't understand Czech news because it was in Czech. So like, I was so happy.
Right? Yeah.
Also, it turns out living. Yeah. Also,
it better move its king.
Oh no! Turns out also living within walking distance of a bakery is also pretty great. So that also improves mental health.
Yeah. Simeon says, joke's on you, Ian. I already do think the authors of the Bible were some of the worst communicators in history. 40,000-ish Christian sects show that, Lamau. I totally agree. Like the Bible, if you've read it, is just full of contradictions, terrible communications. Also, I was thinking about the Lamau abbreviation. I feel like we need to co-opt that for League of Militant Atheist Organization. Like, we need to do something with Lamau. It's still a popular thing.
What?
You're never gonna co-opt it.
What?
It's used in everyday speak.
This guy's delusional.
That's
Holy
why
shit.
you co-opt
You think you're gonna beat laughing my ass off?
Got to. I'm saying you use it to your advantage. It's a popular search term. That's why you co-opt it. Neck 2.
No, I just.
Fair enough. Justin, what are your thoughts on mythicism? And Richard Carrier, have you ever read his book on the historicity of Jesus? I haven't read it. I actually do have it. Denise gifted it to me. I'll be reading it this year. Here's my problem with mythicism is it almost always involves some kind of a conspiracy and cover-up, which I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Also, we've got
Or you could be a conspiracy theorist and recognize that a conspiracy is still more probable than a resurrected Jesus.
I mean, that is the case. But we've got lots of examples of individuals, like normal human being individuals that became mythologized in history. Like it's something we see happening over and over again. So if I'm just playing like this is what usually happens, I'm going to say, yeah, there's probably a guy named Jesus who claimed to be the Messiah, and some people thought he was, and he got a following, just like all the other fake messiahs, right? That's not hard for me to believe. I think it's a little bit more difficult to believe that somebody would make all this up, especially with the Pauline letters, because Paul seems to be a real person, and Paul claims to have actually personally knew the disciples. So like, in order to make it all go away, you have to get rid of Jesus, you have to get rid of Paul, you have to get rid of the disciples. Like everything just has to go. To me, it's kind of like flat earth theory. Like at some point, like the jig's going to be up. Like we have a fake deity named Serapis, but not long after Serapis kind of ceased to be a thing, like we discovered how it was invented. We discovered that it was an invented deity. And so, but you know, I just think there's no good reason to go to mythicism. It doesn't solve any problems. I think the reason why they love mythicism is because Christians can't prove that Jesus was a real person. They'll never be able to do it. There's not enough evidence for it, right? So it like cuts the legs out of the argument entirely. It's like a shortcut to I win, your God isn't real. But like, I don't know, like there's so many people from history that we just assume are real, even though we lack sufficient evidence for it. Like Gamaliel is one of my favorite examples. Like we don't have really variable evidence from his lifetime that he existed, but there's no good reason to think Gamaliel just didn't exist.
I mean, personally, I'm a Abraham Lincoln mythicist, so.
So
I mean, where's the body?
I don't want to do the meme, but I do like wonder if we're denying that Jesus existed on the basis of, you know, there's like not enough evidence. But if we accept that people like Tacitus or Josephus or like Paul talked about them, it's like kind of unclear to me the basis on which we would accept the existence of like anybody. Not to do like the meme, but I don't know, Justin, what do you make of that?
So I agree. I think a lot of people will say, well, like, how do you know Abraham Lincoln existed? But like we have verifiable evidence from the lifetime, and I think
Prove
the
it.
argument.
Prove it, scumbag.
I know. The argument.
Prove you're not a brain in a vat right now.
Right. The argument relies
Nothing existed
on,
before I was born. Prove it.
The argument relies on like, what does it take to be justified in a belief? How certain do you have to be of something? And I think because Jesus is a figure from history, it's much more difficult to prove his existence, and therefore, you know, you would just put that burden on the person to prove it. But again, like we've got people that mention Jesus that seem to think he's real. Now, Josephus didn't live when Jesus lived. He was born shortly after. So like he wasn't a witness to Jesus, and we don't have any like written testimony from the time period of Jesus. Like everyone comes after. But then again, there's lots of people that the only evidence we have they existed comes from 100 or 200 years after they existed, right? So I just think to me it's a weird arbitrary line to draw to say like unless someone living in the exact time period of Jesus wrote about him, then it didn't exist. I mean, I don't know if that's a solid case to be made. Now, there are some people who make a really good case for it. I've talked to Christ Before Jesus. He's on TikTok. I think so. To date, his argument for mythicism is the best from what I've seen. I think it's really good. But again, this is me personally. I'm personally not convinced. I think there's too many conspiracies you have to buy into for it to work out.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, let's get a couple people from our YouTube queue. It's hard to know which if any of them are actually real. But I think Johnny may have come back through the YouTube queue rather than through the TikTok queue. We'll find out. Give me a second to see if it's the same Johnny. Welcome in, Johnny. Are you at least 18?
Welcome, I'm back. I've tried it on my PC.
It is the
and I
same
hope it
Johnny.
works better.
I assume so. Well, welcome back,
It is.
Johnny. Let's start out from where we left off at. But can you refresh our memory? You believe in a generic God, right?
Yes, I believe like there has to be creator because it's like more of an easy explanation. Because the other explanations are to me more complex, and I don't feel like the complexity in the argumentation for the universe being real is necessary for anything, right?
Okay,
for example,
so
what
explanation for what?
for the universe being like it is right now.
Okay, so what about the universe requires an explanation that only a God could satisfy?
I mean, the existence of the universe, for example. You could argue there are like many theories how the universe came to be. I mean, you can either argue that it's been there forever. You can argue that there are multiple universes, and everything is more likely possible. Or you could argue there's a creator. I think the creator one is like the easiest way to explain
I think you
it.
missed an option. There's another option, which is that
There are
there's just
many other options.
there's a naturalistic force, right? So in order to pick one, we would need one that like has evidence behind it. So what's the evidence that the hypothesis of God is the best one?
I mean, we can try to look at the effects the one theories have on the people and try to filter one that is like still good in a sense. Firstly, I have to say I'm a moral anti-realist, or I think I'm a moral anti-realist as far as I understand it. First of all, you have to say either you can prove something, but the proof is it's hard to prove something like the universe being real because we don't have any kind of analytical tools to really understand if the arguments we make are a good approximation of the reality of the universe. For example, if the universe is eternal, we have problems with energy and infinite energies, and same with multiverse and multiversal universes.
What's the problem?
Are energy doesn't make really sense if time is infinite or space is infinite. I think the consequences physically of that are far more worse than the creator.
What's the problem?
What's the problem?
For example, if you say you have infinite time, doesn't that also mean you have infinite energy?
No.
Why not?
Because you could have a finite amount of energy that just exists forever.
So space is infinite, but
it could be. It doesn't have to be.
Okay, space could be infinite, but energy is not. So therefore,
well, no. I mean, if space is infinite, almost surely energy is infinite as well. But also keep in mind, in an evolving universe, global energy, meaning the energy of the entire universe, is just not well defined.
That's true. That's true. But it makes more
so
sense because
the whole argument just falls apart because there's just not a well-defined notion of energy to talk about. Period.
I could see that part, but I believe the universe is expanding. I believe in the Big Bang, and I believe it creates like space and time, but it also will fall back into itself later. So
look, if you believe that the universe is expanding, then there's no notion of global energy. It's just not well defined. Or at least nobody has any idea how to define it.
Yeah. Okay. I see that argument. But still, the creator would be more sensical in a way for me to explain it than the possibility of infinite time, space, or energy. Because the concept of infinity applied to real world concepts doesn't make sense in my way of viewing things. Maybe you could give me an argument or an example of anything being
your
infinite
God
and
existed
real?
for infinity, so if your God can exist for infinite time, then there's no reason why the universe
I don't know.
can't
I don't know
exist
if it
infinitely.
could. I'm just saying my God is like
a
was
supernatural
your
being.
was your God always there? Was there a moment where your God wasn't there?
Could very well be. It could be a human, which is like super powerful.
So then you don't believe in God. No.
How many different positions are there between where I am and Germany?
Theoretically infinite, but in the real
How many
world,
actually?
Actually, I couldn't tell you. I'm not that good at mathematics. If we believe the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, there is like a clear border we can measure till, and I can tell you if
no,
would
the Heisenberg
calculate.
uncertainty principle doesn't get you to discrete space. It doesn't imply anything like those.
But it does imply that we can't tell you if there's an infinite points between us or not, because we can't.
No, it doesn't speak on that at all, right?
I mean,
it doesn't
we can
speak
only
on whether or
measure
not the
to
universe
a
is
certain.
Our ability to measure is unrelated to the ontological properties of the number of points between here and Germany.
100% certain, but it's not uncertain. But it's not clear, so that there are points. We can't prove there are infinite points. We can't disprove there are infinite points. It's like nonsensical to argue.
Right,
about
but
that,
you do
right?
understand that the way that we do physics today requires that the universe is continuous, meaning requires that the universe has, for any 2 points that you pick, that there's another point between them.
100%. Yes,
that is built into the laws of physics that we have right now. Now, if you want to reject those, by all means, then you're in the realm of,
No, I don't want to
beyond the
reject
standard
those.
model of physics. But if you want to accept those, then you just have to say, yeah, it's at least plausible that the universe has an infinite number of space-time or spatial points between any two locations.
Why do I have to accept it? I don't get that.
That's built into the laws of physics. Like,
Is
general
it, though?
relativity is
But-
predicated on that. Yeah, general relativity is a model based off of Lorentzian manifolds. Manifolds are continuous and smooth structures, or at least differentiable structures, which means that you are able to subdivide any region infinitely. That's
I
built
mean, you
into
are
the structure of general
mathematically-
relativity.
You are mathematically, but physically you are not, right? Because
No,
otherwise,
the point is if general relativity is correct, if what it says is true, then it's true that you can subdivide space infinitely.
which theory is that true? Because
General relativity. This is Albert Einstein's theory of gravity.
but like the simple general relativity or the complex general.
There's only the one general relativity.
What exactly do you mean? Like, because I don't get the argument really. You
So
say
general relativity is a particular model of the way that we understand gravity. It says that
right.
matter and energy and all of these things, they curve space-time. And one of the requirements of that model is that space-time can be infinitely subdivided. That is a requirement for it to be true. If that's not the case, then the model is no longer true.
I don't think that's true, but could you give me like something that shows there's an infinite?
Yeah. So in
general
general relativity, the way that space-time is described is as a Lorentzian manifold or a pseudo-Riemannian manifold. Now, a Lorentzian or pseudo-Riemannian manifold, you can just go look this up. It is a type of differentiable manifold, and differentiable means that you can subdivide it infinitely. It means that there is a well-defined
Does it
differential
really?
Structure.
Does
Yes,
it
it
really?
does. That's what a differential. That's what a
means
differentiable manifold
you can
is.
part it in like at least two parts, right?
No. It has to do with derivatives, not just dividing things in half.
Okay. A Lorentzian manifold, you said.
Yeah, you can look up what a Lorentzian manifold is. You can go find that it'll tell you it's a kind of manifold. It'll either say it's a smooth manifold or a differentiable manifold. Smooth manifolds are a subset of differentiable manifolds. These things are things that you can take derivatives on. That's one way to understand a differentiable manifold. And taking derivatives requires being able to subdivide space infinitesimally, at least in like the standard real line. And in our universe, the space-time is modeled on R4, on the fourth tensor product of the fourth Cartesian product of the real line, which itself is infinitesimally subdividable. So, like, this is just a foundational aspect of general relativity. Now, if you want to reject general relativity, you can, but that's like a big burden.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to do it right here, right now. It's way too big for me to explain even. I kind of have to read up on my physics, I think, before I can make a feasible argument against infinity being real, in the sense that we can have infinite systems in real systems. But you say it's given, like it's a axiom of relativity.
Yes.
To be infinite. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I just questioned the reality of infinity in our systems, but I think I have to do way more math and way more physics to kind of make a good argument out of it. Because right now, I can't prove to you that the infinite. I can ask you one simple question. Do you know of any infinite systems we can prove?
I don't know what kind of proof you would accept. For example, we can say that general
Anything.
relativity has extremely strong evidence, and one of the requirements for general relativity is that it requires, infinite subdivisions. So that's in some sense evidence for the existence of infinities.
I mean, yeah, in math, but like not in reality, right?
Well, but we have evidence that general relativity corresponds to the reality that we live in.
100%,
Or at least it models the general
100%,
relativity.
it
So like
correlates
this is
100%.
evidence. I don't like if you're asking for like deductive proof, probably not, because you're asking a fact about empirical reality. So you can't really deductively make statements about empirical reality unless you start from some empirical claims, like you have some sort of model and then you test that model.
100% right. That's the whole point why I believe, though, because in order, I believe like it's dependent on the time if you believe or not, because it's two different systems of understanding reality, right? You have like science for understanding reality, which asks why are the things the way they are, and you have like religion that try to live with the world and try to don't say why are things the way they are, but how can we live with the things we are. So I don't even see the point in disproving one or the other, because I think both are important for research in both ways. But yes, 100% certain I have to look up the infinity argument, because it's just like I don't know if it's like a good way of explaining the universe, because if we really calculate with infinity, we have like a lot of problems in mathematics and physics.
No, calculating with infinity is pretty normal and standard.
Yeah,
so we
but
know
we
how to
don't
handle it very easily.
calculate with real infinities. We calculate
I don't know
with
what that
infinities.
means. We calculate
That
with
means,
infinities all the time.
yeah, but they are still like they have borders. They have axioms. They are not like everything is possible.
So
they are like
that's not what infinity isn't. Everything is possible. That's just not what infinity means.
Is it not? If time
No,
is
infinity is a well-defined mathematical concept.
Yeah, but if I know that it's mathematically not the way it's defined, but if we define it like physically, if time is infinite, what are the consequences of infinite time?
That for every moment there is a moment before it. That's basically the only consequence.
For infinite time, the only consequence, and what does that mean to probability of things?
Doesn't really have. I mean, it doesn't really have any consequences for the probability. I mean, what it might say is that for every event that has a finite probability, that event will occur.
So it's more or less says everything that could happen will eventually happen if
with some caveats, sure.
And that's like a big no-no in my understanding of reality.
Why is that a no-no?
Because if everything is which is finite is possible to happen, then the speed of light doesn't make sense in a way, or it isn't like the biggest.
Why not?
Speed.
I mean, if it's just impossible for things to go faster than it, then nothing will ever go faster than it.
But then time isn't infinite, because at some point there's like a photon which will move faster than other photons.
Why would there be a photon that moves faster than other photons?
Because we have infinite possibilities, and with
No, it's only the only things that happen are the things that are possible to happen, and if it's not possible for things to move faster than light, then it'll never happen, even in an infinite amount of time.
Okay, so we say time is infinite, but the things happening in time are like finite, right?
No,
like,
it's not that things are finite. It's not that things are finite. It's that some things are possible and some things are not possible. If something is not possible, it doesn't matter how long you try, you'll never get it.
Okay. I try to understand that, but maybe I need a little bit longer for that. So maybe you will try to go with another participant. I try to understand it a little bit more.
Thank you for being here, Yanni.
Thank you for clearing things up.
Cheers. That was a little bit painful, but we got through it. Dad, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, I think the way New Testament authors contrive Old Testament prophecies to fit someone's life is a major point against mythicism. So actually, I agree. For example, if mythicism was true, they could have written it so that he literally did fulfill these prophecies, like where they didn't have to contrive it. The same thing with like his birth. They wouldn't need a contrived birth narrative for how he gets to Bethlehem when everyone knows he's from Nazareth, right? So the fact that we've got these issues in the story tell me that while there are fictional parts of the story, they're trying to make it fit something that most people believe is real. Gretchen says, Lamau equals lamp, my atheist omniluminescence. I like that one.
There you go. Hashtag Illuminati, hashtag enlightened by the lava lamp.
Yeah, I like that. Yep. Or love my atheist. There's so many options. All I'm saying, friends, is there's some options at our disposal. And Mindforge says, theists seem to think infinity is still as poorly understood as it was in Aristotle's time, potential versus actual infinities. Cantor solved this. I don't know what that means, though. Well, what did Cantor do? Do you guys know?
He basically explained, he gave a mathematical founding or mathematical basis for like actually giving reasonable descriptions of, infinity. And he talked about, basically he gave us the notion of infinity that we have that is related to like the size of sets.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Well, thank you for the super chat. We're going to get our next guest in here. I think it's going to be 2026. We'll load them up. Maybe.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, welcome in 2026. Are you at least 18?
Sorry.
And do you believe in God? Also, there's
Wait, sorry,
like a
because
really
I
loud
entered,
echo
on
in the
your
background.
URL, I'm on your TikTok. Yes.
So
I believe in God. Yes.
Right. Fantastic. So I think the echo is fixed. I think we're good to go. Awesome. And you're at least 18. Which God do you believe in?
Which God? I believe in the eternal essence. Do you know what that means?
I mean, I know what the word essence means, and I know what eternal means, but I'm guessing that your definition is going to be different from mine. So when you say eternal essence, what is the eternal essence?
So the foundation of our existence that has no beginning and no end. Do you agree with an essence that has no beginning and no end? A foundational essence that our existence relies upon?
I disagree with the definition because essence isn't a thing. Like you can't hold essence in your hand. Did you want to try a word that doesn't mean something like silly?
I wouldn't call it silly. So, okay, if I was to give you,
you might not,
evidence of my God being real, I will say consciousness. Why I say consciousness is because our consciousness allows us to witness our existence. It allows us to witness this eternal essence that we're experiencing now through our consciousness.
But that's what we're trying to get at. You're using essence like it's a noun. Like it's a physical, like a thing that you can have. Like you can have like an essence, like a soul or something. But essence is usually the essence is referring to like the characteristics or qualities of something. So if I was talking about the characteristics of Blitz's ponytail, I could describe the essence, of the ponytail. But the essence isn't something that like exists on its own.
So existence itself. So if you believe in it's not even about believing in existence itself. You're experiencing existence itself. So have you heard of the contingency argument?
I agree, and
we're all over the place.
Heard of it. Yeah. Are you abandoning the essence discussion then?
No, we're all aware. It all ties back together. This is the whole point of me believing in God. So the concept of God, the concept of God is,
because it sounds like you're having trouble staying on one argument. How about I'm going to write down your argument one premise at a time, And then if we get off, I'll just put it back on the screen so you can remember where we're at.
Okay, the premise method. Okay, premise 1, do we exist?
That's a question?
Sure.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
the premise 1
We
is we
exist, right?
exist.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know what a premise is, so we can help him out.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Okay, so we exist. Could you, I don't know if we're limited on time, but could you explain to me the exact definition of premise?
It's just a proposition, just like a thing that could be true or false, a statement about reality.
Okay, so yes, we exist.
Typically when people are giving premises, they follow like a valid inference rule. Like there's like some underlying logical structure, like, you know, Socrates is a man, all men are mortal, therefore Socrates is mortal. I haven't read into like the semantics of like what a premise is, but maybe what we would want to say is that what makes something a premise is that it fits into an argument, like that sort of structure.
Yeah, so I don't see how I used the term premise wrong.
You asked a
Okay, so-
question. That's what
Yes.
was wrong with it. Questions aren't propositions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1 second, since we're writing down notes. Okay, so we exist, and we witness this existence through our consciousness, right? So without our consciousness, oh, so you agree with premise 2?
No, we're just writing down what you're saying.
Okay, so we witness
just
existence.
lay out the argument. We'll talk about it.
Yep.
Okay, we witness our existence through our consciousness. Do you as an atheist believe energy disappears?
We are all over the damn place.
So look,
Yeah.
But
offer
we
a
ne-
premise
we-
rather
we
than
never
asking a
disappear.
question.
No,
Premise
I
one of
just
the
want to
contingency
see where your mind's
argument.
at.
Do you as an
This
atheist
is my style.
think
This is my style of.
This is an entirely different argument. This is an argument of like the energy from our bodies like lives on after us, and that energy is the soul. That's not related to the argument we're doing right now.
So, okay, let's take it back to the beginning. Yeah, I believe in God. You would like me to provide evidence of God, right? So
That's what
Yeah,
we're
my
asking
and
evidence.
that usually involves
My-
not asking. That usually doesn't involve asking questions,
Sorry?
by the way. Providing evidence is something that you should be able to do.
Okay, we'll
merely
start
by-
again then.
You should be able to do
We
it. You should be
exist.
able to do it just alone. You should be able to write down your evidence or write down your argument without interacting with another human. So
No,
present
the
us
reason-
the
the
argument or the
reason,
evidence rather than asking us questions.
My line of questioning is just to understand if you believe in an eternal essence, meaning that we are within a domain that will never disappear, no matter what happens to our bodies.
So again, that's not what essence means.
Do you agree with that? Yes or no?
No, that's not what the word essence means. You have to find a different word.
No. Essence means existence. So
No,
so
it does
the
not.
experience
What?
within this
That's
existence
very
is essence. I'm
confused.
talking about energy.
That's not remotely what the word essence means.
This is a thing what atheists do. When you're backed into a corner, then you just start debating on what definitions.
My
of
guy,
words mean.
if you think that we're backed
Essence
into a corner
means
right
existence.
now, you should probably go check like your introduction to geometry textbook, because like this is not what a corner is.
So
You don't need a geometry
I'll help you
textbook to
out. I'll
prove
help you
what-
out. So essence is like the features that a thing will have if it exists. You know, I could exist, and I could have short hair, long hair, because like the length of my hair doesn't relate to my essence. We would probably say that I couldn't exist if, you know, there was not a second child to my two parents. That is like a part of my, that's like an essential feature of mine. So essence does not mean existence. There's going to be properties that are essential, ones that the being could not exist without, and properties that are called accidental, which are just like the intrinsic, like non-essential properties. So I hope that maybe like clarified.
So essence is what something is. Do we agree with that? Yes or no?
No, because it could have accidental properties.
That's what it means. Go on Google and write what the definition of essence means.
I just told you
Please.
what an
This
essence
is what it means. Are we
Yeah.
seriously going to argue about what essence means? We can't.
Yeah, we
Yep.
we
You
are
seem to be
because
confused
this
on it.
discussion
you
until
are confused on what words mean. In fact, I'll just put the definition on
I'm
the
looking
board
at.
for you
I'm
since you're
looking up on it
incapable
right now.
of looking it up yourself. So
I
what
am
it
looking at it right
says
now.
is that essence is the intrinsic nature or indispensable quality of something. It's a property. It's the
Okay,
property of
intrinsic
something.
intrinsic nature. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, it refers to the qualities of something.
Specifically the
Okay, so
essential
the
ones.
qualities of existence. The qualities of existence. Does that make more sense to you now?
No, because existence
That
isn't
is
a
okay.
thing that has qualities. It's a
This guy's
description.
like giga confused.
Yeah, this is really rough.
I'm not confused. We just have a language barrier.
Said the confused person.
Okay, we can still move
Your
forward
English
with
is
this
fine.
conversation.
Your English is fine. This
Okay.
is just a confusion on your end as to what words like actually mean, rather than the way
Okay,
that
am
you
I allowed?
speak
Am I
English
allowed to
regularly.
forget about? Are we allowed to forget about essence? Then I can continue this without using the word
Sure.
essence.
Sure.
Okay, so we know that we exist, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yep. And through our observation, we've developed technology which help us measure a certain rhythm and patterns of contingent things that we observe. So when I say contingent, like the Earth is contingent of the sun, and the sun is contingent. I'm not a scientist, but I know the sun is contingent of another, and as far as we can observe, it's an infinite regression. Do you agree or no?
So how are you using the word contingent here? By contingent, do you merely mean that there is some like causal relationship? Do you mean like some sort of
Yes,
possible
cause and
worlds
effect.
notion of? Okay, so
Cause
you just
and
mean that
effect.
like a thing by contingent, you just mean thing A is caused by thing B, therefore A is contingent on B.
Yes, and it's infinitely regressing.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, if that's what you mean by
Do
contingent,
you
then
agree?
sure, the
'Cause
Earth is contingent on
I don't want to
like.
just stay soft. I don't. If you disagree with it, we can debate on that. I don't want to move
I mean,
forward.
the
if you
important point
disagree
is
with
that
what I'm saying
is
now.
that rather than say contingent, you should just say caused by.
No, I want to use contingent because
Okay,
it
you
just
want to
saves
use the word
time.
incorrectly? That's fine with me.
I'm not using the word incorrectly. The Earth is contingent of the sun. The sun is contingent on laws
What do you
and
mean?
everything, and we can
So
strip
He just
okay.
means
all the
caused
way
by.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Typically,
we can
typically the
strip
way
we can
the
strip
word contingent
this
is
contingent
used, it
pattern
means something
all the
that's
way back.
possible but not necessary. So I'm not. Maybe do you mean like ontologically dependent? Like it's like
Ontologically dependent. So
There's
everything.
some like physical causation that like somehow the sun caused the Earth to form.
Sure, but
Without the sun,
sure.
the Earth wouldn't be. The Earth, as we know it, wouldn't be here.
He might mean ontological dependence.
Do you seriously
But
not
then it's
know
just
what
false. Then it's
contingent
just
means?
false that the Earth ontologically depends on the sun.
Yeah. The
So
Earth could
now we're
exist. Like
saying,
if the sun
okay, I can
poofed out of
prove that the
existence,
Earth
all life on Earth would
depends on
die,
the
but
sun.
the Earth would still exist. So yeah, that is.
I can prove that the
Blitz
Earth
is
depends on
totally
the sun.
correct here.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
not
go ahead,
listening
prove
to me
it.
at this point.
Prove it. Go ahead.
Okay, the Earth is dependent on the sun. You're aware of photosynthesis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I've
so
heard of it.
Okay.
that's the
Okay.
interaction.
So the
That's
problem
an
you have here in
interaction between the
2026
Earth
is
and the sun.
you're addressing like a specific thing in the Earth. Dr. Blitz addressed this 30 seconds ago. You weren't listening. If the sun disappeared tomorrow, does the Earth still exist?
No.
The Earth will
Okay.
disappear. Like the rock that we live on would just poof out of existence.
Poof out of existence. Yep.
No, it wouldn't just poof because this is not how the
Right. So then
There you
there's not an
go.
ontological dependence relation.
This is not how the essence works. It moves around. The energy
Essence doesn't
in this
move. Essence
it moves
isn't a
around
thing.
and it
We've
doesn't
already
exist.
done this 3 times
Oh, we're arguing about definitions of words. Okay, sorry.
because you keep
All right,
using it
so
wrong.
I've had different debates and they've never complained that my definitions are wrong.
Well,
So
they
you
are
still
wrong.
debated
What
with
is-
people who don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know what it is. But okay. So we exist. This is as far as I can get with you guys. Okay.
We
Do you
agree. We
believe-
exist.
Okay. Existence. You wouldn't call it essence, no? You wouldn't
No.
call existence essence.
No, those are different words.
What would you call existence?
Existence.
What would you give?
It's like the
What would
things
you
that
give
have
another name
being.
to?
You know, the things in
Okay, so
reality.
being. Okay, so being. All right. When we're buried into the ground, does the components of our body change or disappear?
Yeah, there's like some sort of like change to it.
Okay, so it doesn't disappear. That's the first step of evidence that everything in this, I can't use essence. Okay, everything within this universe doesn't disappear. But this is not the discussion. This is not the debate.
Did you think our position was that when we die we disappear?
No,
Like
so
we fucking despawn.
Okay, we agree. We
What?
agree that we don't disappear. Let me
That's the
finish.
craziest
We
And
agree
then you
that we
respawn
don't
in Lumbridge
disappear.
with only 3 items. Like, what are we doing here?
This,
This is
so
wild.
energy doesn't disappear. Energy never disappears, right?
Energy's not a thing.
It's not a substance.
Goodness.
Energy's not a
Okay,
substance
existence-
that appears and disappears.
existence doesn't
Energy
disappear.
is the measurement of change within things that do exist.
Okay, the universe. The universe doesn't disappear. Things within the universe doesn't disappear, right?
We agree.
Even
the
if
universe won't be disappearing.
Okay, cool. So does that make the universe eternal?
I think it is.
You think? I think so too. Can you prove it?
Oh, that's a huge problem. That means God didn't create it.
No. So think about the concept, yeah? Look, think about the concept. We both agree that this, I can't use the word essence. We both agree that this existence is eternal and it will never disappear. That's the first thing the classical theists explain God. An essence that doesn't disappear.
That doesn't
You
do
believe in
anything
that as
for
well
the
as
God
an atheist.
argument.
No. This believes you
tie that in
believe in
with
the same
God.
concept. You believe
Tie
in the
that-
same concept.
Tie
we
that
mean
in
when
with
we say
God. What does God have to do with the fact that the universe isn't going to poof out of existence?
When we say God, we mean in eternal essence, which you just admitted you said you think you believe in.
But it's not an
so
essence.
as far as I know,
You can't
as
be
far
an
as I know,
essence. An
we
essence isn't
believe
a thing.
in the same
An
concept,
essence
but you just
is
don't
a
like the word.
collection of
Just
properties.
because you don't like the word
Wait,
God,
so
it doesn't mean it's not real.
He's crashing out
2026,
crazy
you're
already.
like deeply confused about words more so than anyone I've ever encountered. When we say God, what that refers to is an ultimate foundation of reality that has a mind. That's what God means. So
We have a mind.
establishing the
So this is the-
existence of something that's eternal. Well, an eternal thing is not necessarily God because the universe itself could be eternal. Even if the universe has an essence, which would create like an eternal essence, that wouldn't be God either, because God needs to be an ultimate foundation to reality that has a mind.
But as a result of existence being, we're here. We're witnessing examples of intelligence, conscious influence. So
Super
do you
cool.
believe
I have no idea
consciousness-
what that has to do with what I just said.
Okay, so no, the way we describe God, I know your understanding of God, the way we describe God almost acts human, like he can go to earth, do this, come as a man, or just have certain direct influence on us.
That's just not
But
what we mean.
where I stand, so what's your understanding of God? What, a Christian God, Islamic God, a Jewish God? What are you thinking about when you see the word God? Because God is not only religious. God can be explained in a scientific language. That's how real he is. And this is the message
Sure.
I'm trying to...
All
this
that's
is the
meant
message
is
I'm
a
trying
being
to
that
let you guys
created the
know.
universe,
Well,
or perhaps
there's no
sustains
message
it or
because you
grounds
already
it. It has a
admitted,
mind.
you agreed.
Imagine
that it's
asking
an
questions
eternal-
and then not shutting up to hear the answer. It's almost like you're terrified to hear the answer.
I just wanted to finish
Almost.
what I say, but okay, I'll shut up now.
Yeah, so what is meant by a mind in this context is just a being, something with a mind that is responsible for creating or otherwise sustaining or grounding the universe.
So you don't believe there's a higher form of conscience with bigger influence on its environment?
Why would we?
That's because you can see examples of a contingent pattern where if you look out, the conscious influence will get bigger, and if you look in, conscious influence will get more fluid.
Out of
and
what?
I mean your imagination.
Also, I don't know what it means for conscious influence to get bigger as you zoom out. I have no idea what that means.
I
Okay,
too am unclear on this.
this is where I might lose
That's
you, but I
amazing. You
don't
said a
want to get.
whole truckload of words that had no meaning.
Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, you've already admitted you believe in the same concept of an eternal essence as theists. So
No,
you just
theists
don't like
believe.
the word
Wait, I'm
God.
sorry. Right? Maybe
That's
like
all
you
it is.
have
You
like
just don't
some
like the
notes on
word
the note
God, but
card,
you believe in
and
the
then they
same
got like
concept.
covered up. So you can only like repeat the same notes over and over again, despite being explicitly corrected on it. But no, when theists believe in God, they believe in an ultimate foundation to reality that is a mind. We'll demonstrate that now. Do you think God is a mind?
I believe God is, if he's created the mind, of course he's bigger than a mind.
But does he have a mind?
He has an influence of consciousness. I don't know what you mean by mind.
I asked you a
Do you
yes
mean
or no
mind by
question just to
in
think
a
of it as
human
mental
sense?
states like beliefs, feelings, emotions. Any of those
A
are
will.
sufficient. Yeah, will.
Okay, yes, I believe God has like, when you play Minecraft on creative mode, yes, I believe that's what kind of influence God has on
But
his
does he have a
environment.
mind is the question.
Of course, he has a conscious. When you say mind, are you talking about a human brain?
Crazy that he can't
Because
just
mind is
answer
not a
no.
human. Yes, he has a mind. He has an intelligence. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we don't believe in one of those. We don't believe that the universe has an eternal intelligence to it.
So what is our intelligence contingent of?
But by contingent, what do you mean?
What is the foundation of intelligence? The
Brains.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the brain, if I understand the question correctly.
Okay, metaphysics. You know the metaphysical language.
We
Things
said
that
brains.
are. Yeah, but you're going into
My
like
brother,
a physical
my
thing.
brother in Christ, you don't
Consciousness is
want to
not.
talk about metaphysics right now. You're hardly managing talking about like standard English words.
No, it's just a language barrier. I'm trying to make it as
sure that's what
simple
it
as
is.
possible because I feel like the problem with atheists, like
Yeah,
to
tell us the
analyze and
problem with
break things apart
atheists.
too much.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, it might not be a problem. It's a
Yeah,
blessing
when you
in
can't
disguise,
give the
I
argument,
guess.
just claim that your interlocutor isn't intelligent enough to understand your argument. That's usually a winning strategy.
The argument was done as soon as you agreed there's an eternal essence that will never
The
dissipate.
argument
No,
was not
except
even
that's not what you
started.
believe in, as we
We
just
have of God.
demonstrated. You believe that it is a mind. We don't believe that.
So where did our mind come from?
Okay.
If there was no
Are
mind.
we gonna have to return to this issue again, like in the future, or?
Maybe the universe
So
is
what do you mean?
truly
Are you dodging my question? Where did our mind
It's a good
come
one,
from?
Blitz. Dr. Blitz is a funny man. Yeah, our mind emerges from the brain. For those of us
From
who
the
have
brain.
one.
Okay, and what is our brain contingent of? Planet Earth, right?
By contingent, do you mean like ontologically dependent?
Yes. What does our brain need to sustain itself?
Needs lots of things. It's ontologically dependent. Well, technically, our brain. I wouldn't say our brain is ontologically dependent on the planet Earth, because your brain could exist. Like, let's say we all boarded
We
a
have
spaceship.
astronauts.
Yeah, exactly. The Earth gets obliterated, but there's still some people on the spaceship. Well, the brain is going to persist, despite the fact that there is no.
Okay,
There's
we
no more
we
Earth.
work like a battery. We work like a battery. So even if the Earth explodes and there's humans on the ship, it's only a matter of time before the resources they will need to be recharged on Earth will just not be there. So
But that's
we
not
do
what.
need
That's
the
not an
Earth.
ontological
The brain
dependence
is contingent of
relation.
the Earth. For example,
That's not
okay,
an
cool.
ontological dependence relation is the problem.
It is
Saying like
because we wouldn't be
eventually it
here in the
will fade
first
away.
place.
No, an ontological dependence is if this ceases to exist, then that ceases to exist. That's at least one property of an ontological dependence.
Okay, so what you're saying is, even if the Earth disappears, our consciousness will still be active.
It's possible for that to be the case, yes.
Okay, and okay, let's remember that. But we wouldn't exist in the first place if the resources and food and minerals on planet Earth didn't form us.
I agree with that. I agree humans wouldn't exist if Earth never existed.
So we need Earth to be here in the first place, but after birth, if the Earth disappeared, we will still survive somehow. Okay.
No.
So this means
it's
consciousness
possible for us
isn't
to survive
directly.
without the Earth. Yes.
He didn't say we
Yes. So
will.
our
He said it's
consciousness-
possible.
Okay, cool. It's possible that we will survive as soon as Earth disappears. Is that what you're saying?
It's possible we could colonize the moon.
Yeah, there are scenarios that could happen wherein the Earth doesn't exist, but humans still do.
Okay, I agree with that. Okay, cool. I want to stick to the contingency argument. So you said it's possible. I want to talk about things you definitely know. Because if you're saying it's possible, then we're just going to get into a rabbit hole of, yeah, it could be this, could be that. So do you know?
Wait,
yes or no?
let's make a deal. You know, I'll talk just about things that I know if you use words whose definition you know.
I know what contingency means. I'll be more than happy to go with that argument.
Give me
But
a
you're saying
definition,
that
or
these
give
are
me
the
a
ones-
definition of contingency then.
It's something needs to be contingent on something to sustain
Circular.
itself.
That's circular.
Oh, you're using sound effects. Okay. Everything is contingent on something.
I'm
So
still
we
looking
need
for a
the Earth.
definition of
We
contingency.
need we need the Earth's resources to survive. So we're contingent on the Earth's resources.
I still
Right.
need a definition of contingency.
I've given you an example. I've given you an example. I've
I don't
demonstrated
want.
to you.
I didn't ask for an example.
I've demonstrated to you that I understand the idea of contingency. That's the way I understand it.
No, you haven't.
We need the,
So okay,
we
I'll
need
give
the
you.
Earth's
I'll give you the
resources.
standard philosophical definition of contingency if you'd like. You know,
Okay.
typically we
Yeah.
take contingency to be something that is possible but not necessary. That's a fact is contingent when it is possible
Yes.
but not necessary.
Yes. Okay. Yep, I agree. So the universe itself, is the universe itself contingent on something or non-contingent?
I'm inclined to think that the fact that the universe exists is necessary.
So it's non-contingent then.
Yes.
That's the same concept of God, a non-contingent essence.
Does the universe have a mind? Because you agreed earlier that God has a mind. So if the universe is not a mind, then it's not God.
Okay, you're asking me, does the universe have a mind, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, the
Okay.
entirety of it.
We
Does the
we
entirety
are
of the universe have a mind?
yeah, we are direct evidence and experience that the universe has a mind.
Oh, why?
Because we're talking to each other and interacting with each other right now and questioning consciousness
Why would
itself.
that mean that the entire universe has a mind? Why would that follow?
Okay, and so that will lead me into whether you believe if consciousness is only experienced at this part of the universe, or do you think consciousness is in other places than our experience? Is there consciousness elsewhere?
I think it could be in other places,
Okay, so now we're taking
but I
a
have
step
no
closer.
reason to think that it's like the entire universe has a consciousness.
Okay, so there's
That's also really strange. You're
in-
telling me that there's consciousness within the universe's consciousness? I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about the idea
you
of
asked
like a
me,
mind within a
you asked
mind.
me
That seems
that
strange.
is, does the universe itself has consciousness? We are we're experiencing it right now, and we don't know if we're the only ones. We don't know our capabilities. We're learning every day of our influence. For example, actually leaving planet Earth and having conscious influence on the moon, observing the sun, sending things onto Mars. This is conscious influence as far as human beings go. But what we have observed that
I agree humans
consciousness
are
comes out
conscious.
of
Why would I
consciousness.
think the universe is conscious?
Because okay, so if we're talking the pattern of contingency, our consciousness itself has to be
You still
contingent
don't
on
know what the
something.
word means. Oh boy.
We just
so
had
I think we agree,
we
but I
just
think you
had
think
this
that
discussion.
I'm pretty sure
Okay,
we
look,
agree
look.
that it is contingent in the sense of like ontologically dependent on the brain. But I mean, what I'm trying to figure out still is why would I think that the universe itself is contingent? Or
No,
sorry,
I
why would I
did.
think that it's
I asked.
necessary or has like a mind? Fuck. Sorry, scratch those questions. I'm getting all disoriented. Why would I think that the universe has a mind is the question.
Because okay, we can. Is it safe to say we can use our own experience as evidence that the universe has a mind?
I have no idea why it would be.
Lagging, but I'm guessing you said. Can you repeat that again? Sorry.
Yeah, hold on a
Oh
second.
fuck, am I lagging out?
No, my
I can hear you just fine.
my fiber network's losing its
Yeah, I
mind
can
today
hear.
for some reason. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna switch to a different network. All right, we'll see if this is any better. Y'all with me?
Yep.
All right,
Well,
we'll
he's
see if that
gone.
normalizes.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
No, almost certainly
So
can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
can you hear me? Yep, I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear
Hello?
everybody. Can y'all not hear him?
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear
Okay,
you.
I think that we're probably good.
Okay.
All right, cool. Should I go?
Oh,
Should
no,
I
we're
repeat what I
not.
said?
We're very much not good. And he's gone again.
Oh, hold on a second. I switched to a different Wi-Fi network, and it didn't actually fix anything. So it's not the network.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean I can hear you, but I don't think they can.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you, but there's ongoing issues. Hold on. 2026, we can hear you.
Yes.
2026, we can hear you. There's just ongoing issues, so chill.
Okay, I'll chill. I'm gonna double check on what contingent means while fix it.
I don't know if there's anything I can fix
Yeah,
without
you should check the
restarting my
Wikipedia
fiber
page.
network.
I think that we're good now.
Yep.
It's just kind of
Are we good now?
it's kind of laggy and I mean, but I can hear everyone.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
we'll
it's
try.
kind of laggy. That's right.
Oh. Contingent, depending on something
do.
else in order to exist.
Do you mean ontologically dependent?
Could you tell me the definition of ontologically mean? What does that mean, please? Sorry.
Ontological just means like having being. So ontological dependence, the basic notion of it is like this thing depends on, or sorry, I'll use a better term. Like this thing only exists because of this other thing. That's what an ontological dependence is.
Yes, only exists because of this thing. Yes, this is the pattern we see, starting from our consciousness to our physical brains to planet Earth, to the sun, and then, yeah, I didn't study science much to know what the sun's contingent of, but I do know that it's an infinite regress.
Sure. So
It
I mean,
seems like we've looped back like 30 minutes.
yeah. So I mean, I accept
I'll
infinite
fast
regress.
forward. I'll fast forward. So, okay, does the universe have a mind itself? We are direct experience of the mind of the universe. Whether or not you believe we're the only ones that has a mind in this universe is up to you. I don't know how I would go about proving to you that there's consciousness elsewhere and other forms of consciousness that has bigger influence over the universe. But yes, I would use our conscious experience of existence as evidence that God is real. And as far as I'm concerned, when I asked you if you believe in an eternal essence, you said yes. And that's
Nope.
exactly how
Wrong
theists
again.
describe God.
Essence is not a
So,
thing that
as far
exists
as I know,
eternally. It's a
we believe
description
in the
of
same
qualities
concept.
and attributes. So we don't. Your inability to track this conversation is incredibly frustrating because I feel like even a child could have been tracking, but you're not.
Okay, so I'm really trying to.
Essence
did
isn't a
say-
thing that exists on its own. It's not a thing. You can't be part of an essence. You can't put essence in a bucket. Essence isn't a thing that lives on. It's just necessary
okay.
attributes and qualities of something.
If it was to strip the universe down to nothing, what would we get?
Nothing.
But we're experiencing something right now. So how could
I agree.
something come out of nothing?
Nothing never existed. There was never nothing.
There was, yes, right. This is the essence we're talking about.
The
Or
universe
is
is
that not the way
eternal.
you want to
No,
use it?
essence doesn't exist. I'll make you a deal. If you use the word essence wrong one more time, I'll drop you immediately without a warning.
Okay, so all right.
This
I
is what
accept that deal.
atheists do.
Look, I accept that deal, but just give me 15 seconds to check the exact definition of
Wait,
essence.
I'll give you
And
I'll
if I
give
can-
you
look,
I'll give you 2 minutes to make your entire argument, and then we'll address it when you're done, so that we don't do the back and forth. How about that?
Okay, cool. I just need to find cool.
Okay, we're done with that. All right.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna
That's
do
fine.
that anymore. Your mic is. Did you turn your mic off? It sounds like it's coming through your earbuds now.
Oh, it probably is. I had to disconnect and reconnect my mic. 1 sec.
Okay.
I'm just gonna refresh.
Yeah, sorry about the network hiccup there, guys. I don't know what happened, but for some reason my network decided it was gonna like throttle down to next to nothing, and now it's back. I don't know if somebody like hit a telephone pole out in the neighborhood somewhere or what. Weird. All right, Blitz is coming back. Maybe? There we go. Let's get Blitz back in here.
Why am I giant?
Because I haven't set your resolution. There you go.
There we go.
Actually, I kind of like this better. I don't know.
Because I'm giant now? something.
All right. Well, listen, that guy was kind of a joke. Let's grab our super chats and we'll get. Well, here's kind of where we're at. We've got some people waiting to get in, and we've got some super chats, and we've got like 20 minutes left in the stream. How do we want to order this? Do we want to read all the super chats now and possibly take a guest if we have time left over, or do we want to take a guest and then end by reading super chats?
Let's take a guest.
Let's take one more guest.
The audience deserves that.
I agree. All right, I think Tuesday was next in line.
Oh, this is a friendly.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah. Tuesday, did you request by accident? I suspect so. Hey, thanks for watching, friend. All right, so we'll try Lenny. Welcome in, Lenny. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yeah, I'm at least 18, sorry. And, well, I don't know. My thing is that you guys are making the claim. You're saying it's not real. So why does it matter that I believe it or not?
I don't see why that would follow.
We're debating people who do believe in God, and if you don't believe in God, then we're not debating you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do not not believe on God because I don't know.
Okay, so then we're not
You're
debating
agnostic?
you. Congrats, you weeded yourself out. That was easy. Okay, move on to the next one. Welcome in, Sola. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God? And when I say do you believe in God, why do you believe in the Catholic God?
Yeah, how do you know I'm Catholic?
Because your name is Sola Ecclesia.
I mean, I could be Orthodox, but yeah, I
Really?
do.
Are you Catholic?
I am, but
Damn, we got American
yeah,
Sniper over here. Justin on it again.
Yeah, so I am 20, and yes, I believe in God, and I
Cool.
have an argument as to why I believe in God.
Awesome. Is it premise based? Because if so, I'll write it down.
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. What's P1?
Yeah, so P1 is simply going to be that everything that which we know of is composed of potency and actuality.
Can we just say potential for short?
Yeah, but you can say like potential and act.
Okay.
Yeah.
P2?
P2 is going to be nothing that has potency can actualize its own potency by itself. And by the way, just a qualifier, I'm talking about essential act, not accidental act. Okay, just to make sure.
What's the
So you're
difference?
talking about essential gibberish, not just accidental gibberish. Got it. Continue.
Acting is gibberish.
The act potency distinction is, but go ahead.
Am I lagging or is he lagging?
No, it's my fiber network's fucking up today. I don't know why.
Okay, because I didn't hear anything.
Oh,
No, it's not you.
Yeah, so it's only 2 premise. It's not 3. But
Okay.
yeah, the conclusion is gonna be that therefore there must be an unmoved mover.
What?
That is the eternal actualizer of all potencies. It's like the first cause.
So I'll give you like a broad sweeping critique of this because this is something that I've been reading into as of recent. So God for sure cannot fit this description. Prior to creation, God is not a creator. After
He is
creation,
lagging.
God is a creator.
Brother, you are lagging.
You know, that would be a change.
Deconstruction, can you hear him?
Oop,
Yeah, everyone
fuck,
can hear
I
him.
hope
We all know
not.
he's lagging. Hold on.
Gosh darn it.
Damn it.
Yeah, Justin, it's only uploading at 1.2-ish megabits per second, and I think usually we're at like 6.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Hold on.
This is absurd.
I'm gonna see if I can tether off of my
I
phone.
think that you really gotta like
I mean,
stop
I'm
your
sure-
download of like whatever illicit materials you're downloading.
No.
Okay, deconstruction. How about you deal with the argument? Because
It won't even switch network. Hold on, I'm trying to switch to a different network to see if it'll fix it. But let me try to switch over.
Right, so it's either gonna be you guys.
I'm gonna have to get like a
premise.
Verizon hotspot. It says failed to enable personal hotspot. Why? Get the fuck out of here with this failed to enable. Let me just turn it off and turn it back on again.
Am I clear? Am I lagging?
I think we're all lagging.
Am I lagging?
No, you're not. Deconstruction, you're not.
Fuck.
All right, I switched over to a different network. Let's see if it catches back up. Give me a second.
I'm gonna refresh on my end.
Okay. I don't think it's on your end, by the way.
Justin,
I
I
think
would
it's on my
suggest that
end,
you refresh. It might be an issue on our end too.
which is why I'm the only one not lagging. Although I'm sure I'm lagging for some people. Welcome back. Okay. This ain't better? Is it starting to stabilize?
good?
No.
Oh, hold on. I got to zoom in on Dr.
Not
Blitz's
really, no.
face real quick. Hold on. There you go. Is that better? That's better. I like that. Okay. It's catching up a little bit now that I switched over.
It actually is better.
Yeah, it should.
It is
catch
better.
up.
Yeah.
Okay. I just switched
Okay.
over to tethering off of my phone.
Solo, can you hear us?
I have unlimited
Yes, I
data on
can.
my phone tethers.
way better.
Okay. So here's the critique. Well, so first of all, this is a non sequitur. This doesn't follow a valid inference rule, but that's like the obvious easy critique. The other critique that I'm going to give, because this is something I've
So
been
wait,
working towards, is that God couldn't possibly fit the description of an unactualized actualizer. I mean, maybe we can ask it like this. Prior to God creating, did he have the potential to create?
No, we don't believe God has potency. That's the definition of being pure act.
So God didn't have the potential to create,
No,
and then he
God,
created?
the being pure act, the same way something can have a form without having a matter, something can have an act without having potency. God being pure
But
act simply means that he acted once out of eternity, out of his divine will, without having potential of not acting or acting. The act correlates with
okay,
his will.
do you think that there was like a moment, like a state of existence where it was just God existing alone?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and in this, was he in his act of creating when God existed
No,
alone?
because, yeah, beautiful question. So, saying that God, his eternal act, can entail temporal actions doesn't necessitate that his act has to be temporal. For example,
I
revelation,
don't think I
right?
said that.
I mean, you're saying if there was a moment before he created the world, then he cannot be pure act. Is not your point?
Sorry, so I was just asking. So there was a point where God was not creating, and when he existed alone, yes?
Yeah. Yes, there was.
Okay, and then he started creating?
Yes, but the act is out of eternity.
So that's a
I
change.
don't. If is it a change for? Are you saying it's a change from not creating to creating? Is that your question?
Yes.
Well, first of all,
Yes. Well, that's like the
when
claim. It's a change from not creating to creating, yes.
okay, because you're glitching a little bit, but first of all, saying that God is pure act does not, as I said, doesn't mean that he cannot consequence temporal actions. Okay, you understand that, right? There can be temporal actions
This
coming
isn't a
out
temporal
of.
action. Wait, do you think his creation is a temporal action?
I believe creation is temporal. I don't understand. I don't understand what
Do
you're
you
trying
think
to
God's
say.
act of creating is temporal?
His act of creating, I believe his act of creating
Sorry, wait.
essentially is from eternity.
Wait,
What's the
am I
argument?
lagging? Is that what's going on?
You
Yeah,
are,
you're
you are.
lagging.
Okay, deconstruction,
Okay,
you're not
wait.
lagging. Can you adjust
Do you
my
think it
audio?
would help if I restart?
Scylla, look.
I don't think it's you.
The point. Oh, I'm hearing myself twice. One sec.
But
So the point is that.
It's because you're not muted.
Oh god, this is insufferable. The point is merely that God was not creating, and then God was creating. Whether or not you can assign some sort of.
Oh, he's using his phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn it.
Bro,
I was
no
trying
one's
to.
hearing
Okay.
you. No
Yeah,
one's hearing
I
you.
didn't realize you were
Okay,
using your
so let me
phone
make
for a
my point.
microphone.
The point is that there was a state of affairs where God was not creating, where God had not created the universe, and then there was a state of affairs where God had created the universe. Now, whether or not you can assign a temporal ordering to that or whatever doesn't matter for the point. The point is merely that when God was not in the state of creating, God had the potential to create.
Okay,
This is not a
beautiful.
temporal claim. This is just an issue with like going from not creating to creating.
Beautiful. So, what is the contradiction when we say that the act of creating was done out of eternity in his eternal will? What is the contradiction? Where's the temporality?
The issue that arises is that you end up with God having never been in a state of not creating. Meaning
No,
that there
how
was
so?
never a state of affairs where God existed alone.